Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We have a fantastic, super special, incredibly technical episode of Session Zero for you today. We have done the one thing that Twitch groups always find it difficult to do. We've managed to get a company to look at us and go, I like that. I like what they're doing, and we have got upgraded hardware, we've got upgraded software, we've even got a live sound engineer in the form of all of our good friends Mr. Greggles, who will be adding in ambient background music and combat sound effects as and when they are needed. You can go and watch him score this live. We've got a couple of things to talk to you about first, because this whole stream, not only are we using upgraded tech, we've also got some giveaways for you as well. So we've got cool things to throw out toward all of you. Let's start as we always start. If it's your first stream here, welcome. I'm Josh Tropez. I'm going to be Dungeon Master for this fantastic group of players. We have Rage Darling, Billy Trixx, and Callum Upton. Let's introduce our players first, and then we'll tell you about the awesome stuff that's happening this stream to make it extra special. Rage Darling, would you like to introduce your character and tell us a little bit about you?
Yes, so hey, my name is Rage Darling. I play a barbarian called Rage. She's pretty hot-headed, she doesn't really think things through, but she is starting to develop a charismatic side that has been somewhat getting herself into trouble over the last couple of adventures. She had a bit of a run-in with a guy who she thought she was telling an amazing bee joke to. Turns out he didn't really last the end of the episode. But yeah, she's pretty cool.
We do have a habit of killing NPCs that we're trying really hard to step away from. But that's just what happens when an NPC gets in Rage's way. If you only have a hammer, and you have a very big hammer, then every problem looks like a various size of nail. So you will just hit everything until it moves. Is that the plan for whatever I throw at you this session?
Pretty much. I mean, she started leveling up a little bit, so she has a couple of other tricks up her sleeve, but they're mostly different variations of hitting things on the head, yeah.
Fantastic. So we've got a melee-focused barbarian that doesn't rely too much on interaction. We've now got the stepping away from melee and toward magic. We have the lovely Billy Trixx. Billy, why don't you explain who you are and the brilliant magic that you control as well?
Hello, welcome on. Welcome on in. It's really great to see everyone. Billy Trixx here. I play Sourceress Trixx. I have a various assortment of really, really fun magic that I get to play with. If you've ever seen one of these before, you'll know that I love a good fireball, especially if it's indoors and might be dangerous. She doesn't always understand that her magic can cause problems as well as solve them. She is definitely learning how to control things a little bit more, but she's got a long way to go.
So we're looking forward to her control and manipulation of magical energy. Do you have any favourite spells? Because you've summoned a table over an old man and crushed him with it. You've thrown a fireball into a tavern, as we have all done before. You've stopped time by causing time dilation bubbles. What kind of branch of magic is Billy Trixx pushing into?
Do you know what? Some of those are my favourite, but I think kind of going down more like the really, really solid fires. I think like mage hands or burning hands. I also think that some minor illusion is a bit fun. We can be a bit tricksy.
Excellent. Minor illusion is going to be very, very important. And so we've got the melee covered, we've got the magic covered, but what about when things don't necessarily need to devolve into combat? What about when you can settle things with good old-fashioned charisma? We've then got our lovely bard, Callum Upton. Callum, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about who Callum as a bard is, the adventures you've been on, and the way that you're going to try and resolve challenges and fights?
Yes, so I'm Callum, the party's bard. I'd like to think I'm a charismatic adventurer. I solve problems with words more than fighting. When I do fight, it doesn't usually end so well. We've had a lot of good adventurers though.
We have gone well. So your fighting doesn't normally end well because you're normally saved by Rage or by Billy, or you end up running away and then they deal with the aftermath. But you say that you solve problems with talking. Have many problems actually been solved with talking?
It depends on your definition of solved.
And as a bard, you obviously have a musical instrument. What are you going to be playing for us today?
So I've got my trusty flute with me today. As always, it's seen me through thick and thin.
Fantastic. So we'll be using a quick blast on the flute to deal with things. Now,
We will.
Let's talk about the setup of the stream, because it's slightly different. First of all, you'll see that every single character, including Rage, has a pet. That's the dice cam, and the cat is being moved off it. The dice cams for every single character, including myself, allow us to live roll dice, and then you know we are not rolling about any of the results. Every character also has all of their stats listed underneath their dice cam, and then their health bars. You can see that Rage has 16 health, Billy has 8, Callum has 9, and everyone's armor class shown above that. Now, with Mr. Greggles live editing this stream, he can actually update the health bars in real time. All I have to do is say who's taken how much damage, and he will update it, and it will reflect on every single person's stream. And we're doing this using the incredibly powerful Atom software that Greggles has developed and worked with. So let's talk about this stream specifically. We're doing this in partnership with both Scan Computers and Elgato, because Elgato has provided us with some amazing stuff that's come through Scan. Rage, do you want to tell the audience about some of the awesome Elgato stuff that we are using to make this stream a reality?
Of course. So Elgato is. Sorry, my cat's out the window. Billy.
This
I'm
is
sorry,
why you
I
never
don't-
work with
this is
children
why-
or animals.
This is why you never work with children or animals. Go and grab the cat. Billy, do you want to tell people about the amazing Elgato stuff that we're
I don't
using?
have a cat sound. I'm so sorry.
Rage is back. Rage, did you?
He's started to learn that there's a whole other world out there, so he's like,
He's
yes!
exploring. He's an adventurer. That's what he does. He rolled a nat 20 on his exploration check, and he's off doing that. Rage, fill everyone in on the awesome stuff that we are using from Elgato.
Yes, so we are using a whole host of Elgato products, pretty much every single thing that Elgato provides. Specifically, we've got multiple different kinds of Stream Decks. We've got the Stream Deck MK2, we have the Stream Deck XL, we have the Stream Deck Pedal, we have the 4K 60 Pro, we have the face cams, which are what we're actually using for our dice cams. We have key lights, ring lights, green screens. You guys can check out everything that we're using via the link that is in the chat. I believe it's !scan. And that will send you to a site shop at scan.co.uk. So you can look at everything that we're using. And if you guys would like to purchase any of those things, just to let you guys know, it's through an affiliate link, so you'd be supporting us directly. So thank you in advance for that. Really
In
appreciate
case
it.
anyone is wondering why we all look way better lit, we've been given proper lights. I've been given a proper green screen, not just a piece of fabric, and a proper actual face cam instead of just the old cam that I was
And proper
using. It's now
internet.
being used. And proper internet. I've actually
internet.
connected via a LAN cable instead of via Wi-Fi. I know, professional streamer. But we're not just sending you to buy stuff, we're also giving you stuff away, because this is a Dungeons & Dragons stream, and while we may not follow the rules of D&D all the time, we have been provided with some D&D stuff to give away to all of you guys. Billy, do you want to tell people about the D&D stuff that we've got to give away?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you haven't seen the tweet already, then you're missing out. You need to go and check that out. But you can also find it in the chat as well as the ! Giveaway. We have Player's Handbook, Monster Manual, Dungeon Master's Guide, with expanded rules gift set as well, fridge magnets, plushies, t-shirts, everything that you kind of want for an awesome goodie bag for D&D. Not to mention as well the Elgato Stream Deck Mark II, which is really, really cool.
Yeah,
so
there's some
just-
super cool stuff.
Yeah,
Now,
there's some really, really cool stuff.
as we are still a relatively small D&D group and we've not been given a hell of a lot of stuff to give away, that is limited to, Rage, correct me if I'm wrong, is it the UK and Northern Ireland right now?
Correct, yes. Hashtag blame Brexit. We can't, unfortunately, ship out to EU. However, things are changing. So those of you who are out of the EU, sorry, you won't be able to join in, but potentially in the future. So keep your eyes.
And as soon as we are bigger, we will do what we can to get things to international people. But for now, it's the UK and Northern Ireland. And the final one is the software that we're using to kind of conglomerate this across all of the streams is Atom. And you can actually go and watch Mr. Greggles do this live by typing into the chat !guest in mine. Greggles, if you just want to pop on screen and tell us a little bit about all the stuff that you're going to be doing, what can people see you do?
So yeah, obviously the idea behind this is to be to make this as an immersive experience for you guys watching at home as possible, but while not meaning that Josh, Callum, Rage, and Billy have to concentrate on anything else but doing what they do best, which is entertaining you guys and killing people called Timmy. So I have got multiple stream decks set up. I've got all my mixers and everything. It's all controlled by Elgato, stream decks and foot pedals, and then it's linking into Atom. I'm streaming to all 4 of you, these guys' channels at the same time, as well as mine. But on mine, instead of seeing what you guys see here, I actually have it laid out so you can see all the buttons I'm pressing, all the OBS setup, absolutely everything. So if you're interested in the technical side, then pop on over. You'll still be able to see the full show, but just with the little extra technical stuff. And I also have a monitor addiction, so if you want to see what a NASA control room looks like, then
it's mad.
Yeah,
The tech stuff that's going on is incredible. As Gregor said, he is actually the one right now streaming to every single Twitch channel and updating them all live at the same time, and everything is connected to everything else. It is a tech nerd's dream to go and see what he did. I walked into the office he's got and was just blown away. I was lost for words. But now we have all of this amazing stuff. We have the scan link, the Elgato link. We have Gregor's You Are Ready. Rage, Billy, Callum, are you ready for a D&D adventure?
Oh, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. You've been travelling through the forest for several days now. You're fed, you're watered. You found some fresh fruit on the trees. You've managed to find a brook or a stream or two of sparkling clear water. You are refreshed. Adventures of the past slowly fading into memory as you travel through this rather peaceful and tranquil forest. Rage, this is a unique moment of downtime and relaxation for you. What are you thinking about when there's no immediate danger? What does Rage want? Where have you come from and where are you going to?
So, I got sent to, like, go and expand my horizons, right? Because apparently I just wasn't very good at, like, socializing and, like, thinking with my head. Because apparently I don't think before I act. I think I do, honestly. And apparently I get really angry and really emotional. And honestly, I don't think I do. And I think they're really, really wrong. And they're honestly so aggravating when people say that. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So I got sent to go and expand my horizons, socialize a little bit, and just see what's out there. So now it's really quiet and it's really peaceful, and I can hear my own thoughts in my head, and I don't like it because
So
I go on and on and on.
When the loud thought happen bad, you
Yeah.
need to fight to make the quiet thought happen.
Yeah, loud noises make inside voice go.
Yeah. Now, someone has said in chat that we have stats underneath the characters. Does this mean that I'll be using the 5th edition D&D rules? It means I'll be using my closest interpretation of the 5th edition D&D rules, and we can all question why Rage has 17 intelligence and Billy has 16. Rage is intelligent enough to know that the best solution is hitting things with a big hammer, and Callum is intelligent enough to know that maybe not getting into melee combat is the best thing to do here. Billy, it's a rare moment of downtime for you. How are you doing?
Do you know what? I'm enjoying it. I'm thinking we've had some really, really hard times recently. We still kind of haven't really come across that much money to treat ourselves. So maybe like this week is going to be our week. We're going to have a really good week, and maybe we're going to just do some like nice bonding together.
So you're looking forward to maybe earning some actual money, maybe because you're not doing well as far as money goes.
Yeah, we haven't been the best at managing our finances. Not only do we frivolously spend, but we also have been not securing our payments for adventures.
No, yes, you have been told that you'll be paid by people, and then you've been completely forgetting to go and actually get the money. So right now you need some cash. Cal, you've not been in money for a while, which means as a bard you've not been able to drink, you've not been able to go and perform at bars. How's this open forest doing for you? Is this the place you want to be?
It's not really my sort of thing. It's too naturey. There's too much greenery here. It's just really not for me.
Well, you all might be in luck, because as you walk through this lovely forest, you start to see more rocks around the place. There's a mountain range in the distance, and as you strain to listen, you can hear someone shouting for help. Someone screaming, "Help me!" Rage, you hear someone asking for help. What do you do?
Come in! And I run towards them.
Do you know which direction the shout is coming from? Can you roughly work it out?
Can I work it out? Do I know
Roll
which
a
direction?
d20. Let's find out.
Oh. Tethered.
Is the cat there as well? There's a cat in the forest too.
The cat-
Roll a d20, Rage. Tell me the
The
result.
cat has stolen the D20.
Is the cat
joking.
genuinely...
The cat has actually
Really?
stolen the D20.
Billy, roll a d20 and work out how well Rage recognises this forest.
That's a 9, Rage.
That's a 9.
Billy.
Rage is definitely aware that there is a voice coming from somewhere, and so, in her desire to be a hero, sprints off into the forest. Is it the right way? We don't know.
Who knows?
She's just gone. All you've seen is just Rage one moment, and then a burst of leaves and foliage, and she's just gone into the distance. Billy, you hear someone shouting for help in the distance. You see Rage just kind of zoom off in a direction. What are you doing?
Where did she go? She's off again. Callum, somebody's calling for help. I don't know what it is, but Rage obviously thinks it's important. I think we need to go. I'm going to just, see if I can, see which direction she is running, and actually, does it actually correlate to where the
Yeah,
shot
well,
is?
Billy, roll a
you
d20
run,
for your
Rob.
perception of where Rage has gone.
15.
15. You are aware that she's actually, through complete fluke, managed to run directly toward the person who's screaming for help. So, thankfully, this person who's screaming for help is about to see a large, angry barbarian lady running at them wielding a hammer, which may not be, the most helpful of things, but you can follow her and hopefully provide a bit of context. Callum, you're a helpful guy, aren't you?
I like to think so, yes.
Do you feel if someone was screaming for help in the forest, you'd go and help them?
It depends what I'm going to get in return, really.
You're going to have to go and ask.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely go and take a look. I'll see what he's got to offer, what wares he has.
The party runs through the forest toward a rising spire of rock and stone, the edge of a mountain. And as you get closer, you start to see pickaxes, mine carts, bags of gravel and sand, some rocks strewn about, and you realise that you're approaching the entrance of a mine. And standing outside the front of the mine is a man dressed in a rather smart, kind of semi-golden suit, just shouting for anyone to pay attention to him. And as he does, a pickaxe flies out of the mine entrance, and he manages to narrowly just dodge it as it flies past his head and clatters onto the floor. He sees you running toward him, Rage, looks at you and says, "Please, please help me." Rage, what do you do?
Of course! What do you need help with?
The mine, the pickaxes, it's all gone wrong. It's all gone so terribly, terribly. He looks behind him again, and another pickaxe flies out of the mine, almost as if animated by itself, and he dodges out the way, barely. He turns. Please, please stop them. Billy, you manages to arrive as well, and you see this man dodging a couple of pickaxes. He looks at you. Are you together?
Yeah, we're together, we're friends. What's going on here?
He turns around and stares back into the mine, and it seems to calm down for a moment. Noises inside seem to cease, and then he looks back at you. Oh, it's gone a bit wrong. He walks forward and sits down onto a nearby ledge. You can hear the ambient sounds of the forest just drifting into the distance as you look at the large entrance to the mine. Callum, you walk round the corner and see this man sitting down on a rock. He looks up at you. Oh, are you with these two as well?
Yes, I'm part of the adventurers party.
Oh, my
You
goodness.
finally arrive.
It was a nice walk.
Please, I need someone to help me.
Right, what exactly do you need help with? And be very specific, please.
The man takes a few seconds to catch his breath, stands up, walks toward and extends his hand to you. It's good to meet you. I'm the proprietor of this mine. My name is Elliot.
Oh, nice to meet you, Elliot.
Shakes your hand. Billy
Yeah.
walks over to you and goes to shake your hand as well.
Elliot?
Yes, that's my name, Elliot Gato.
Nice to meet you, Elliot Gato. I'm Sourceress Trixx.
Rage, he walks up to you and extends a firm, friendly handshake.
I grab his hand very tightly and hi, I'm Rage.
Someone in chat says, how are we spelling that? He says, Elliot Gato, 2 L's, 2 T's. Rage, roll a d20 for how strongly you grip his hand.
Elliot Gato with 2 L's. I'm pretty sure you said it's Elliot Gato with 2 E's, 2 L's, 2 I's, 2
You know what,
L's,
yeah,
2 T's.
his parents didn't like spelling too much. It's 2 E's, 2 L's, 2 I's, 2 O's, 2 T's. That's why. He has a hell of a time signing his signature. But yes, Elliot
10.
Gato.
Elliot
Double up
Gato Mark II.
10. You grab his hand, and Greg looks really confused. In a surprising show of strength, he manages to squeeze your hand back just as hard, and you almost immediately respect this man's strength.
I gave him
He
a
steps
wink.
back. Right, we have a bit of a situation. I'll pay you handsomely if you can resolve it, but I'm not sure where to start.
Well, maybe
The
it starts
beginning?
at the... Yeah.
Right. 3 days ago, a friend of mine, a mage called Simon Can, came to me with a business proposal. He told me I could send all of my workers home. I run this mine, you see, and he would animate all of the machinery inside. Pickaxes, conveyor belts, anything. All the infrastructure we'd built, magically animated, meaning we don't need to work at all, and my workers can go and focus on other things in their life. And it was going great for about 2 days. And then, about 24 hours ago, all the pickaxes just stopped mining and started attacking anything that went in there, flying around, going haywire. The machinery started spinning, the conveyor belts were going way too fast or way too slow. And the worst thing is, I haven't seen Simon in 24 hours. He's in the mine somewhere, but I don't know where. I don't know what's happened to him, or why the spell's gone wrong. Could you please go and find out?
We can go and find out. Come on, Callum.
Yeah, why not?
I'll pay you handsomely. The mine is remarkably successful, and with no need to pay the human workers, we're making a decent profit, but please, go and find Simon. He's a good friend of mine.
Right, okay. I mean, it sounds like a great idea, by the way, this whole automation thing, but you don't really get, like, the companionship of fellow workers with these things, do you?
Well, the great thing is we can set it to work and then we can leave. We don't need to be here. It's dangerous work for a human. It's why we decided it was in everyone's best interest to automate the process.
But you're now paying someone
it's
to look
very
after
smart.
your workers that have gone rogue.
Oh, no, the workers have gone off to live their own lives and find other jobs and other hobbies. They're okay
No,
with this.
I mean your new workers, your animated workers. You're now offering to pay... Have you really saved any money with this?
Oh, there's no workers at all. Simon has simply animated every single pickaxe and is using his magical control to make them do what he needs them to do.
Well, that's what
All
I
he
mean
needs to
by
do
your
is-
new workers. Your new animated things.
If he stands in the mine, he should be able to control the entire operation. He has a few days off every week, but he's able to do more than humans ever could.
Okay, that makes sense to me, I guess. Yeah, we'll check it out. We'll see what we can find.
We'll help you. Don't worry.
Just please be careful. Early in the cave, I know there's a goblin nest or two that we never needed to clear out because they left us alone, because they ended up trusting us, and further down we managed to tunnel into the openings of an underground river, which we've not fully blocked off, and then what's in deeper than that, I don't know. I'm not sure how far Simon's got into the cave.
You don't need to worry about us. We're a professional adventurer group.
Yeah, we're good at going deep into caves.
Yeah.
We've got experience.
I'm glad to hear that. Elliot has managed to trust you. He's dusted himself off and has reached inside his jacket and pulled out a small roll of bread that he's began eating. He's clearly shaken up. Before you would venture into this cave, you know you might face goblins, you may face an underground river, you may face animated, angry machinery, and then you may face whatever is in the deepest recesses of the cave. Rage, is there anything you'd like to prepare or take before you would venture into this gold mine?
I would like to take a branch from the tree.
You walk over to the forest, spend some time looking for the perfect branch, and then you manage to snap one off and place it in your bag.
Nice.
Billy, is there anything you would like to take with you before you venture into this cave?
Yeah, is there any, like, not dirt, but like little shingle or anything like that around that I can find that I can just put in a little pouch?
Well, the great thing is that since the cave has been hooked up to a conveyor belt system and a bagged system and everything is being brought out, there's loads of different spoils and dirts all around the place. You've got little stones, little pebbles, little tiny shells, what look like chipped but somewhat worthless crystals.
Anything
There's
that
lots of
looks sharp.
stuff. You want to find
Sharp
something
and small.
sharp? You can find some shards of crystal, which is weird because it's a gold mine and they shouldn't be there, but it seems a few have been pulled out on the conveyor belt system.
Cool, I'll take those.
And Callum, is there anything you're interested in before you decide to venture into this mine?
Yeah, I'd imagine that nearby, like a mine entrance, they've had to deforest a bit. Are there any hatchets or anything?
There's
nearby?
a couple of scattered tools all around the place. You can actually see a stump of a tree that's clearly used for cutting firewood for whenever they set up a kind of party here, and there is an axe buried in top of that stump.
Lovely, I'd like to take that.
You manage to just about yank the axe out of the stump, you put it in your backpack, and you decide that you're all ready. You give Elliot a final nod, and then you adventure into the mine. Quick reminder, if you're watching this and want to see the sound effects being done live, you can simply type !guest into the chat and go and watch Mr. Greggles doing all of this behind the scenes as we go. The cave entrance is dark. It looks quite large on the outside, but then very quickly tapers off into a very small passageway. You can probably walk two abreast, and it's getting darker and darker and darker. How are you going to see in this cave? Do any of you have a solution or a spell that casts light?
I actually do. I have a spell, aptly named Light.
In order to cast light, you need to focus the source on something. Do you have something that you would like to act as the source of this light, or would you simply like a disembodied...
I'd simply like a disembodied hovering orb of light.
Rage,
Put my twig back.
Rage, have you given Callum the twig?
I have the twig. And I hold it to Cal, like, you do the light thing on here? Okay.
Callum,
light it up.
You cast light onto the end of the twig. Now, it's not fire. It's simply ambience and glow coming from the end of this twig. And Rage, you're able to turn it around. It looks almost like a magic wand, but there's nothing inherently magical beyond the light being cast from it. Rage, does this mean you're also at the front of the party holding this glowing stick forward?
Yes, I am like Rudolph.
Yes, you
Which
are like
back home
Rudolph
was
the stick-nosed barbarian.
Yes.
Billy, do you also know light?
No, I don't, but I'm an elf, so I have dark vision. So
You have
I
dark
can
vision,
kind
you
of
can see anywhere.
see-ish in the dark. It's not so bad. I've eaten my carrots.
Well, what you can actually see, Billy, is that it's obviously a well-worn tunnel going into a gold mine, but it's tapering off to quite a thin entrance. There are mine tracks on the floor next to you, and there's what looks to be the wooden remnants of a conveyor belt system, but it's starting to rot in places and fall away. And as you slowly push further and further into the cave, you start to see, with your elf vision, holes around the edge of the cave wall. Smaller than a human could get through, smaller than a halfling, and as you listen, scratching from deep within them, almost a tunnel system within a tunnel system. Billy, what are you thinking about these?
Guys, I don't think we're alone in here.
No?
I've just got this... Yeah, there's holes in the wall, Callum. Just look at that.
Yeah, no, that's not the most comforting scene, is it?
Can I grab my twig and I want to poke it through one of the holes?
Rage, roll a d20.
14.
14. You walk up to one of the holes. How fast are you doing this? Are you careful and cautious, or are you just walking up and just sticking a twig into a hole?
Da, 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 da.
Excellent. You stick the twig into the hole, and a brilliant white illumination, a glow, is cast against a scaly green face, only a foot or two away from yours. A little tiny goblin sneering at you. In its hand, a really small bow made of a simple twig and a bit of twine pulled taut from it. It simply looks at you and snarls. You look back at it, it looks at you, and you realise that these tunnels are all around. Like a honeycomb as you walk through the main tunnel, these little gaps everywhere, all around, holes in the roof, holes in the walls, and the one you're looking into, a singular goblin. Rage, would you like to react to anything?
Yeah. If he's snarling at me, I want to go...
Roll a d20.
11. I haven't perfected my...
You haven't, so what you actually end up doing is going, yeah. And the goblin kind of, it's taken back and responds with a, yeah. And then you do another, yeah. There's a short moment where you're trying to hold a conversation, but it's not working as well. Billy, you're just seeing Rage snarl at a goblin and the goblin snarl back. How are you feeling about this?
Oh, what are you doing? Goblin in a hole. Stop looking at it and hit it. I want to cast a spell on it.
Cast a spell. What do you want to cast?
Yeah, I just want to, just a little acid splash at it.
A little acid splash. Just, you've seen a goblin, you know they're not good. You're going to conjure a globe of acid and just flick it toward the goblin, yeah?
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
Okay. 10.
10. It is a perfectly acceptable acid splash. The goblin, however, sees it coming and is able to, using the light that's being cast into the hole and spotting it coming, dodge to the side. Thankfully, a little bit just splashes onto its skin and sears it. Billy, can you roll a d4, please?
2.
2. It splashes onto its skin and it begins to burn through its green flesh. It drips onto the floor of this tiny tunnel that it's in. It tries to raise its tiny little bow and notch a tiny little arrow, but unfortunately, just as it gets the notch on, it suddenly stops breathing and slumps forward, falling out of the little tiny hole it's in onto the floor of the cave. And as soon as its little goblin body hits the floor with a thud and a little plume of dust kicks up around it, you start to hear a lot more scratching and scrabbling within all these tiny little holes around the edge of the cave. Callum, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I want to stay behind Rage and potentially... I think I'm just going to try and inspire her.
What would you say to Rage to inspire her?
Rage, you're not alone. I am here, although I am just behind you and out of sight.
Fantastic. What a beautiful speech. You're not alone. I am here, but you can't see me.
Yes.
Rage, are you feeling suitably inspired?
Yeah.
The next
Exactly
time you
what
need
my
to roll a
dad told
d20, you can add a d4 to the result in order to reflect your inspiration from Callum's beautiful speech. Okay. Billy, you realise there are more goblins, and if you stay here, you're going to quickly be swarmed. That means it's either get out of the cave from the way you came, or push deeper into it, past the entrance goblins. What's your choice?
Okay, we need to go. We need to go now. I'm going to just push forwards.
Push forward,
I'm going
roll
to
a
try
d20.
and follow the tracks. 4.
4. You run forward, completely forgetting there is a goblin corpse on the floor. You catch your foot on it and stumble. As you stumble, you reach your arms out to the walls to try and stabilise yourself. You manage to get your hand into one of the small little circular tunnels, grab it as a handhold, and then use it to stabilise yourself. And as you do, you feel a hot, piercing sensation against the back of your hand. You glance over and using the tiny bit of residual light from the stick that Rage is holding, you see a small, crude metal spike stabbing into the back of your hand and a little scaly green hand holding it. You just about look up and you can see the light reflected in 2 white beady eyes grinning at you as it stabbed you. Billy, please take 2 points of damage. And the cool thing is now Mr. Greggles will actually be able to update the fact that Billy has taken 2 points of damage and her HP bar will update live. You can see Mr. Greggles doing this over on his stream if you type in !guest. You managed to take 2 points of damage. That goes to Billy, not to Rage. You've taken 2 points of damage. You look at your hand. Billy, what are you doing?
Okay, I'm going to, with my other hand, just use Burning Hands. I'm just going to turn around and just singe and grab onto what's holding me.
So you've got one hand in this little kind of gap that's been stabbed to it, and you're going to take your other hand and just blast a load of flame into this thing's face.
Yeah, right into the hole.
So
18!
18. Your fingertips begin to glow. All 5 and the thumb congeal into a single white-hot point, and then it suddenly blasts past the goblin as if it wasn't even there. Its face, its bones are melted immediately. And then you realise that actually all of these little tiny circular caves are connected. And Callum, you look down as you see a blast of fire come out of a little circle that you're near, just in front of your feet. Rage, you're able to dodge back just in time as a little residual bit of flame licks out of one of the holes you're in. Billy, you've realised that most of these tiny goblin tunnels are connected, and by blasting flame into one of them, you've cleared out several of them. Rage, what are you going to do? You've just seen all of this happen with Billy.
I'm angry. This little gremlin thing has just stabbed me with... It's Scottish again, man. Just stabbed my sorceress. What the heck? So I grab my little pointy stick and I turn around to the nearest hole and I want to play a game of stick and hole.
Do you want to just go around every little tiny circular hole in these cave walls and just poke the twig
so I'm
into
gonna
it?
Whack a goblin.
I'm gonna go
And see what lights up. Roll a d20 for how effective that is.
19!
19. Your game of luminescent whack-a-goblin ends up being remarkably successful as you walk around and jam the stick into every hole that you can find. You hear these lovely squelching sounds as sometimes the stick pierces through flappy skin. Sometimes it pierces through a little bit of flesh and snags a bone. Sometimes you hear a pop as it goes straight through an eyeball. And the great thing is when that happens, because the end of your stick is glowing and luminescent, you get this lovely ambient glow from within a goblin's skull, illuminating the walls of the cave. And as you pull it back out, there's gore and viscera stuck to the end of it. You've ended up just stabbing several of these goblins by just running around. As you are doing it, you hear the telltale sound of a bow being drawn back. And as it gets drawn back, a little tiny arrow flies through the air. Rage, what is your armor class?
My armor class is... on the stream it's 10, but...
Stream is 10, but D&D Beyond is...
17.
17. The goblin rolled a 2. The arrow doesn't even get out the end of his bow. He simply lets the string go and realises he hasn't notched it, and it just falls to the floor.
Aww.
And he just looks at it. Billy, you've seen Rage stab all these goblins in the face with an illuminated stick. What are you doing since you've just napalmed the inside of this tiny tunnel?
So is my hand not still, like, impaled?
As soon as you burned it, the guy's arm melted, and this little metal spike fell out the back of your hand. It was painful,
Okay,
but it
cool.
wasn't
I feel like
debilitating.
the burning probably did like a... What's it called?
You've almost,
you're
seared your own hand shut.
I've seared my own hand shut. I'm just going to put some mage armor on because I think we're about to go into some serious battling right now. So yeah, I'd like to mage armor up, ready for that.
Take some time and cover yourself in a lovely layer. What colour do you imagine your magical armour being?
It's like a pearlescent purple.
Ooh, like a pearlescent purple, as it begins to shimmer and slowly slide off, almost in plates, plate by plate by plate, appearing around your body, weightless, almost formless, and yet protecting you and glowing from the outside. Callum, you've seen Rage stab a load of goblins in the face. She didn't need your inspiration, although it was there, and you've seen Billy armour herself up. You can't hear too many other kind of goblins scratching around, but you do hear a clanging from deeper within the mine. What are you thinking?
Well, I definitely prefer the sound of clanging to goblins. So I'm thinking I'd like to start heading more in that way because I can deal with clanging.
Rage, you've realised that the scrabbling within the walls has stopped and the goblin corpses and carcasses are falling out of the holes that you've stabbed them from. And Billy, you've realised that you've armoured up and your armour's going to last for some time. But this fight specifically, you may have managed to repel the goblins. Billy, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, my hand's in pain, like that sucked, but we need to go and stop whatever is going on here because clearly there's an infestation of goblins and we need to get them out.
Rage, what are you thinking? You've managed to stab a lot of goblins with a stick.
Hey guys, did you see it? Did you see what I did? Look at this. And I pull my stick out and I look at the top and I'm like, look at the goo, look at the goo. And I stick it in Billy's face. Look at the goo, look at the goo, look at the goo.
No, put it down, I don't want the goo. Rage, stop it.
I want to lick the goo.
The ambient light that the stick was casting, thanks to Callum's spell, was originally a glorious white, and now it's changed to a horrible visceral combination of red and dark orange, as there's a small bit of intestine and some dried blood around the tip of the stick. So you almost have like a red light style torch going on now. Rage, how are you feeling about that?
I like it a lot. I want to take some of the liquid that's on it and kind of just...
Timber.
Imba.
You're going to just draw the goblin blood onto your face like some kind of battle paint.
Yeah, that's what we do. That's what like when we kill things in my barbarian village, right? We paint ourselves with the blood of whatever we kill. Usually it's like bugs, but now it's a goblin. So yeah.
You draw 2 lines on each cheek from the centre going back horizontally. War paint. A symbol to the other goblins that you are ready for them. And with this, you all travel deeper into the cave. As you travel further down, the holes in the walls begin to gently fade away, filled in with rocks, and the cave opens into a much bigger room. The tracks that you're walking on, the minecart tracks, suddenly start to spread out, multiple tracks all connecting, and the area you've walked into, the room, is much, much larger, with flaming torches on the walls around the edge, a massive, magnificent room, and a huge wooden structure in the centre of it. This is the centre of the mine proper. There are minecarts on the floor. There are pickaxes everywhere, some of them floating in the air, still chipping away at rocks. The wooden structure itself holds several arms which reach out, and then chains which hang down to metal or wooden baskets. Some of them have claws on the end that are tunnelling away into the rest of the mine. Some of them have conveyor belts that are moving all the mine and the rock and the silt around. You can see this is clearly the heart of the operation. Rage, what are you thinking and feeling when you walk in and see all this machinery operating by itself?
This is not natural. It's scary.
It's magic.
Yeah, but I don't like magic.
You don't like me then?
Well, no, I don't, but I put up with you, don't I?
Wow.
Don't like it.
Great.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Billy, you know that this level of magic for a mage to control something like this, even with full concentration, is a pretty impressive feat. What are you thinking, seeing these pickaxes slowly chipping away at the rocks, seeing the conveyor belts moving by themselves, seeing the boxes being raised and the chains clanking back and forward?
I think, like, oh my gosh, like, how long has he been doing this for? There's so much on the floor I can see, like, gathered up from what has already been chipped away. He must be exhausted. We need to find wherever they've gone. Maybe they're deeper in.
Callum, what are you noticing as well? Because you've seen things magically controlled like this, but because you are a bard, you care about the performance. You care about the beauty of things, and you're starting to notice that these pickaxes are wobbling in midair before they hit. You're seeing the baskets that get raised up are shaking, and the chains are clanking. It's not beautiful. It's not perfect. What are you thinking about this whole operation?
I'm thinking it's magnificent to watch. I was thinking this will put me out of a job, but then I realised I don't have one anyway, so I guess I'll be okay.
You can see that several of the lines and the caves that are being dug are new. There seems to only be one main exit, if you will, from this room, one tunnel deeper into the cave. You may be able to find Simon within this room somewhere, or you can find something worth looting if you want to have a look round before you travel deeper into the cave. Rage, what would you like to do?
Are there any puddles nearby?
Roll a d20.
14.
You can hear from the main exit from this room, taking you deeper into the cave system, the gentle sound of running water. Clearly it's the underground river that Elliot was telling you about earlier, and if you look up on the ceiling you can see some stalactites with slow drips onto the floor. Now, the drips are almost tactically positioned that they're being caught in buckets, and then the machinery is transporting the buckets to various places to make certain rocks softer to mine. But there are areas of water and puddles around on the floor, mostly dry dust, but they pool in certain places. What are you thinking?
I'd like to go grab a bucket.
Roll a d20.
11.
You walk over to a nearby bucket. It's a simple wooden construction with a metal band around the side and a single iron kind of U-shaped grip on the top. You reach down, you grab it, and you pick it up. And as you do pick it up, it unnaturally swings upward and clocks you really hard on the chin, knocking your head back and making you bite your own teeth together as you do. Please take 4 damage. Rage Darling has taken 4 damage.
From a bucket!
From a bucket?
I don't roll what am I doing? From a bucket!
Billy, you've just seen Rage pick up this bucket and then be cracked underneath the chin. You hear the lovely sound of wood splintering and teeth slamming together as this happens. Billy, you realise that these are magical and they are animated, but they are not under control. What are you going to do? Because as you're thinking, some of the pickaxes start to stop and turn toward you. You see some of the machinery, the swinging arms and the chains begin to turn toward you as if to repel you. Billy, what are you doing?
Rage, are you okay? Don't touch magical buckets. You know what will happen. This...
Oh, it hurts.
This doesn't look good. Can I see, like... So we can go down the one corridor, right? That leads us to further in.
Roll a d20 to see what you can work out, tactical perception-wise.
8.
8. The mine is effectively one long corridor. with several big rooms within that corridor. The other kind of tunnels that are being dug, they're false exits. If you go down there, you'll end up back in this room eventually. You need to get through this room and go toward where the river would be to get out of this room, or head back past the little goblin-infected hole part of the tunnel. You realise this entire room is built quite defensively. The wooden structure designed to be the mining machinery has been super effective, but you start to notice more things. Everything is animated now. Mine carts that were on their side are beginning to have their wheels spin around. Pickaxes are beginning to shake violently and start to rise up off the floor. Hammers and chisels that were breaking down larger pieces of rock are beginning to start spinning in the air, facing towards you, almost like unthrown darts. Billy, you realise you're facing down a magical arsenal of ranged weapons. What are you going to do?
I don't know if the ranged weapons can see us, but I'd like to make us all invisible if possible.
Callum, Billy's about to attempt to make you invisible. You are not going to be able to reason with these things. What are you going to do?
No. How close are they?
Roll a d20.
That's an 18.
You notice that there are several peculiar moments with this. It doesn't seem to be the wood that's animated as much as the metal that's being animated. Wooden tools seem to be staying on their own, and anything that is made of wood with a metal bit to it, it's almost like the metal fittings are being dragged up first and the wood it's attached to is simply following. This animation spell is clearly focused on metal more than it is on wood. You can also notice, being a bard and having an eye for these kind of things, a few bottles of beer, wine, if you will, undrunk around the place, clearly used by the previous workers, might be worth some money. These things could probably fly at you within seconds, and you'd be able to dodge behind a couple of nearby rocks, but you could spend a bit of time trying to pick up some of the undrunk beer if you want to.
I would definitely like to do that, yeah. I may have a plan for it.
You may have a plan. So what's the plan right now? You've got these magical animated metal weapons and objects and machinery that's slowly turning to face you but hasn't started its assault yet, and a few bits around. You can see a gold coin or two, a bottle of unopened wine. What would you like to try and do?
So I learned a trick a while back at a birthday party. It's quite simple. You mouthful of alcohol, flute in, give it a big toot, light source at the end. So the plan is, set them on fire.
So you are going to attempt to make an impromptu flamethrower by downing some wine, blowing it through the end of the flute, and then holding like either a match or a torch or having Billy set a flame to the end of it.
That's the plan, yes.
Okay, Cal, roll a d20 for how successful it goes running to grab the wine.
Okay. That's 17.
Billy, you see Callum running to grab this wine, and you now focus on making the party invisible. How invisible do you want to make everyone? Are we talking full invisibility?
I mean, yeah, I'm going to give it a good go.
Okay, cool. Roll a d20.
Okay, come on. 7!
Billy, you focus your energy. You manage to pull from the ether. You kneel down, still surrounded by the magical mage armor you cast earlier. You're relatively safe from flying objects, and you do manage to pulsate some of your magical energy out repeatedly onto Rage, onto Callum, onto yourself, and you slowly start to fade. Now, here's the problem. You can no longer see each other, but the enemies are still aware of where you are, because they are magically enchanted and are not following you via sight. They're following you via knowledge of where you are. So, Callum, your plan of attempting to make a flamethrower is completely fine, but you have no idea if you're going to hit Rage or Billy when you do this.
Right.
Rage, you are, having been smacked in the bucket, look down at the bucket and realise that from your point of view it's now floating in midair. You are holding the bucket, but you can no longer see your own hand or your own arm. There's simply a bucket floating in front of you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to look at myself and just kind of... Billy!
You're not dead, you're just invisible, kind of.
I see a light! Oh, never mind, it's my branch! Where are you?
I'm right here. Listen to my voice, come to my voice. Come on, this way.
Okay, come in!
He wants a slug. Slug!
I want a slug!
Slug.
Okay.
Rage, roll a d20.
3.
3.
There's that magic number.
You haven't yet dropped the bucket. So, as you follow Billy's voice, you kind of stumble forward blindly, holding your arms out in front of you, and eventually, Billy, you say, "Who wants a slug?" Rage arrives close. Billy, you look down and realise the bucket is now right in front of you, which then kicks up with the same force and cracks you under the chin as well, knocking you back. Billy, please take 2 damage due to your mage shield.
Sorry.
Rage,
Why
you're
would you
still,
do that?
You're still holding the angry bucket, Rage.
I'd like to point out, I've been trying to find a bucket, just, live Foley, and yeah, it's not working, so no bucket sounds. Not my fault.
God.
Ghost
Dreggles is
Reaper.
actively trying to find the sound of a bucket hitting someone's chin. That's going to be a strange YouTube search, but we appreciate him trying. Billy, you've been cracked under the chin by this bucket. You realise that Rage is kind of holding it, hasn't let it go yet. What are you going to do?
Just smack her hand like the top of it so she lets it go.
You want to slap Rage's hand so the bucket is dropped.
Yeah.
Roll a d20.
11.
You manage to just about knock the bucket out the hand and it falls to the floor. The metal, as it does, hitting the rock and actually cracking, and as soon as the metal splits and cracks, it seems to just disanimate itself and roll away like a bucket. Callum, you have managed to reach this bottle of wine. You pull the cork off. Are you going to go through with the plan?
Oh, I'm going for it. Down in one and out the other end of the flute.
You try to down this bottle of wine. Roll a d20 to see what you've actually drank.
17 again.
It's actually quite nice wine. You managed to drink quite a lot of it without getting too drunk, but it is remarkably alcoholic. And once you've downed this bottle of wine, you've got a lovely green bottle left over. You do, however, realise that there's a little metal kind of ring around the neck of the bottle, if you will, almost like a metal flourish.
Oh,
it's
no.
likely this could be animated. What are you going to do to make sure you remain safe from this bottle?
I'm going to throw it towards the pickaxes and hope it just smashes somewhere.
Roll a d20.
18.
18.
Yes.
Rage, you managed to just about dodge a glass bottle thrown right in front of your face and zipping past you into the distance, smashing onto the wall over there. Callum, you are ready. You've got your flute out.
I have.
You've got your lungs full of alcohol fumes. What are you doing? You've started to see this huge big wooden structure moving towards you, pickaxes riling up, metal chisel starting to spin and slowly levitate through the air towards you. Callum, describe your attack.
I take the biggest breath you've ever seen and unleash a massive... as it
Cal, roll a
ignites.
d20.
That's a 4.
That's a 4.
Yes. Had to end somewhere.
The flute, during the goblin encounter, was splashed with blood, mud, dirt. And what has happened is the end of the flute has become plugged, if you will, with general viscera. However, the holes on the top of the flute, they're still remarkably open. So, as you draw in this breath and blast, where is the ignition source coming from? Where is the fire or flames?
You see, this could have worked 2 ways in my mind. I either just doused them in alcohol and then we sort the fire out later, or we go for a full-on flamethrower. But clearly this was just a douse them in alcohol situation.
Excellent. So your main focus here was to just douse them in alcohol and then set them on fire later.
Yes.
Instead of firing a beautiful, lovely kind of laminar flow stream of water out the end of the flute, when you blast it, the only way for the alcohol to go is up through the holes of the flute. So that's what happens. You breathe out. You see... So, Rage and Billy, what you see is coming from almost nowhere, seeing as Callum and his effects are invisible, is 6 beautiful streams of wine being blown up into the air, and then raining back down over many things, including Callum, and you, Billy, and you, Rage. Several of the bits of wood, most of the metal, and lots of the floor, landing also on some of the puddles. Callum, you have successfully managed to cover everyone in a thin sheen of alcoholic rain.
Can we see each other now, though, because of the sheen?
You can actually see the gentle dripping of alcohol off people's kind of invisible forms, if you will. Rage, you are now aware of where the other 2 are. However, a pickaxe is suddenly flying through the air towards you. What are you going to do?
Okay, I'm so angry from having my hand hit randomly and then having been showered by alcohol that I cast Rage. I'm so angry. I've been freaking showered by this bard that I just form into a ball of primal rage.
You stand up and you yell. You let out this primal, guttural scream. Are you brandishing your hammer as well?
Yes, I drop the branch and...
This pickaxe flies towards you, increasing in speed. You turn, you look at it. It hasn't got eyes, but it's gazing at where you would be. How are you going to stop it?
So it's coming towards me?
Yes, flying through the air straight at you.
Okay, I'm just going to catch it, and I'm going to, with one hand, and then with the other hand, I'm going to drop my hammer, grab it, and just snap it on my knee.
Roll 2d20s and choose the highest one. So roll with advantage for the fact that you are raging so angry.
That's a 10. A 2.
No.
You manage to grab the pickaxe just before it hits you. Its actual metal pick side flying straight towards you like a blunt object. You grab it. You quickly reach down the handle and grab the wooden handle at the end. You hold it in front of you and you go to break it across your knee. Is that correct?
Correct.
Pickaxe handles are really strong and you end up just smacking yourself in the knee really hard with a bit of wood, knocking your leg to the floor and almost wincing in pain. You don't feel the pain for too long because you got super angry, but it's very difficult to snap a pickaxe handle over your leg. Billy, you've seen a few more things start to fly towards you. Little metal chisels, more buckets, tiny little metal fittings that were not actually attached to the main wooden structure. What are you doing?
I'm just going to start running out of this room. Come on, guys, we need to go.
Running out of the room into or toward the underground river, if you will.
Yeah, just straight going.
Roll a
I'm
d20.
getting out of this place. 17.
You sprint. You dodge past a pickaxe. You dodge past a bucket. You stumble slightly over some wooden screws that have actually raised up into an almost like a crisscross jagged pattern to make you trip over. And as you get right toward the entrance, a chain on the end of one of the mine arms swings through the air, its metal bucket held on the end with a load of rocks, and it just about almost hits you. Callum, you can see that Billy is running out this room. She's managed to dodge most of the problems, but this huge big crane arm swinging round this metal bucket on the end of a chain is about to crash into her and knock her to the floor. What are you going to do, Cal?
I want to sprint over, jump, grab onto it and try and change its motion, you know, the way it's... Swing it out of the way so that it misses her.
Brilliant. Roll a d20, see how well that goes.
Okay.
Save me.
12.
12. You run. The wooden structure in front of you is actually relatively climbable. Describe how you would scramble up it before you jump onto the chain of this swinging arm.
I just grab onto anything that's there, like nails that are hanging out, little bits of snapped wood, and just like clamber on up and then dive onto the bucket.
The climbing isn't pretty, and you manage to pull apart several bits of rotten wood and little weak metal connections, some nails flying out as you do. You run across the upper level of the wooden structure, and then you leap through the air. As this arm swings around toward Billy, you manage to grab onto the chain that's holding onto the bucket on the bottom, and this change in weight kind of pulls the chain down slightly. Billy, you walk forward, and then narrowly, just past you, almost in slow motion to you, the sharp edge of a metal bucket held by the chain swings past. You look up and can see Callum holding onto the chain, changing its trajectory. Callum, you've managed to save Billy from a very, very large amount of damage. Rage, you still hurt your leg from this extremely painful attempt to snap a handle, and you've seen Billy running through the mine cave. What are you going to do?
So Callum's swinging on the chain right now.
Callum is still holding onto this chain, having just dragged the bucket away from Billy's.
Oh, I'm also going to run behind Billy and, follow.
You're going to try and get out the cave?
Yes.
As you run behind Billy and follow, even more of the metals on the floor begin to rise up. This time, it's tiny screws. It's the nails that Callum knocked loose, and the smaller bits of metal are the much more dangerous ones. They zip past you, but they don't seem to be attacking you. They don't seem to be angry. They're now just flailing out in anger, flailing anywhere. It doesn't seem to be a coordinated attack against you. It's just a zone of danger with metal flying around. Rage, you realise that you can probably take some of these hits, but Billy maybe can't.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna protect my little sorceress, and I'm just gonna and then like double my body and just kind of like bear hug her and just carry her anywhere she wants to go.
Roll a d20.
Like human Uber.
Roll 2 d20s and choose the highest one, so roll with advantage.
Okay. That was a 7. 12.
12. You run for it. Greggles, have you just played Highway to the Danger Zone?
All our channels are getting banned.
Rage sprints through, ducks down, picks up Billy, runs through. As you do, Billy, you narrowly manage to avoid just dodging some of the upper wooden beams within this construction machinery, some metal spikes that are dodging out the side. Billy, you don't need to worry about tripping. Billy, could you roll a d20, please, for how well you successfully managed to dodge all of these items?
Okay, let's go. Let's make it happen. 16!
16. You dodge the pickaxe, you dodge the nails, you're even able to grab a bucket as it's about to hit both of you and throw it behind you. Callum, you're still holding onto this chain, swinging round on the end of this kind of reach-out arm. You can see below you that Rage has picked up Billy and is sprinting with her through this internal mechanised cave. What are you going to do? You've got to get out here somehow.
I'd like to, as the bucket comes round towards them again, jump off and in their direction and follow them.
You're going to use the speed of the swinging arm to almost leap off, roll on the floor, and then run into the cave with them. Roll a d20.
11.
11. It's not beautiful. It's not perfect. In fact, the flies at a slightly awkward angle, and you actually, as you let go of the chain as it swings around, you crash into the cave wall itself as you're quite close to it now, hurting your arm quite a bit. Take 1 damage. Callum takes 1 damage from crashing into the cave wall and then landing quite awkwardly on the floor, but you're able to sprint after them. All 3 of you join up, and you leave this area of the cave. You manage to dodge past a couple of pickaxes and a few more nails bouncing around. And then you take a breather. You've still not found Simon. Rage, how are you feeling?
Pretty scared, to be honest. Magical pickaxes, being hit in the face with a bucket. Like, I feel a bit demoralized right now. And I am still stinking of alcohol. I'm going to give it a lick.
You're going to lick the alcohol.
Yeah.
Just remember that you now have a slightly alcoholic tint to your breath. Billy, you have been put down by Rage now. You've got a couple of scratches and scrapes on your arms now, but you're generally doing okay. How are you feeling?
Oh, thank you so much. I don't know if I'll be able to get out of there with you. I'll pay you back somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I like got my jaw smacked, so if you wanted to like fix that, you know, it's like a bit bruising here, you know.
It's not my type of magic, but we'll do something. Maybe I can just like pop it back into place for you. It looks a bit.
Yeah, do you want to give it a go?
Healing
Yeah, sure. I mean,
be,
what could go wrong?
Healing may not be your type of magic, Billy, but Callum, I'm pretty sure you know some healing stuff, don't you? But while you're watching, while you're looking at Rage and you're seeing this kind of burst chin, this damage, this almost drip of blood from where the bucket smacked you. Billy, the same to you, but you were able to kind of knock back with it slightly better. Callum, you're thinking about how you're going to fix this. Billy, what are you going to try and do? Just push Rage's jaw back into alignment?
Yeah, I'm just going to put one hand over it and then just like give it a smack.
Okay, roll a d20, see how well that goes.
That's a cracker.
8.
Oh.
8. Rage, what you have effectively experienced is Billy just punched you in the face. There's no medical properties here at all. She effectively just walked up to you, put her hand very gently, softly, lovingly almost, on your chin, and then just slapped you really hard.
Nice.
Greggles, can we please give Rage 1 more point of damage?
Is it technically bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage?
It would be bludgeoning damage. Do you have resistance to that?
I am resistant, yeah.
Excellent.
Thankfully.
You still take 1 point of damage, but it doesn't annoy you as much.
You try.
Callum, you've just watched Billy's attempt at medicine by walking up and slapping Rage in the face. What are you going to do?
I'm going to walk over to Billy. Billy's not looking too great, health-wise. She's looking lovely, by the way. And we're going to need her for the rest of this adventure. So I would like to cast Cure Wounds on Billy.
I like the implication that you're not going to need rage as much, but Billy's kind of
Oh,
essential.
Rage has got plenty of health to go. You know, she's got plenty to spare.
Yeah, you do.
Billy's not looking so good in that
I'm
department.
not looking too hot. Look at my
No.
Callum, look at my hand.
I know, it's
I think
messed
I've
up.
helped, but
I wouldn't go... Yeah, sure.
Callum, what are you going to do?
So I reach out, I touch Billy on the hand, and I cast Cure Wounds.
Cure Wounds. Do you have the Cure Wounds spell with you?
I do.
Would you like to tell us what the Cure Wounds spell does?
So any creature that I touch, I can heal them for 1d8 plus my spellcasting modifier.
Cal, would you please roll a d8? Your spellcasting modifier, as you are a bard, I believe, is your charisma.
Yes. Let me... where's my d8? Okay, let me find out what my charisma is.
Your charisma, I think, is 17.
Yes.
I
Okay.
think your modifier would be +4.
Yeah. That's a 3.
That's fine.
That's
you
all right,
managed
actually.
to effectively fully heal Billy all the way back to full health. Billy, you feel this healing energy flowing through you, and you see the wounds close over. Now, it's still a bit sore. You know, it's still not fully there yet, but you are back to fighting strength. Cal, you're only be able to cast a few more spells today, so don't worry too much about throwing
Yes.
too many spells out, but you're okay.
No,
You've
I'm
probably
almost
got
out.
time if you want to try and heal Rage as well.
If I can do it while I'm there, I will also try and heal Rage.
Rage has obviously just zoned out for a second and is staring back into the room, effectively remembering the memories of what you have just dodged. But Cal, roll a d8, was it?
Yeah. That's a 4.
4. Yes, can we please restore... Was it d8 plus 3?
Plus 3 or plus 4. Either way, it'll heal her.
That's fantastic. Greggles, can we please restore Rage Darling to full health? For anyone who wants to see how the behind-the-scenes stuff is working, you can type in !guest into the chat to go and watch Greggles' stream live. And if you're interested in any of the technology, the hardware and the software that we're using, you can type in !scan to get a list of all the stuff we're using. And if you want some free D&D stuff, you can type in !giveaway and have a chance, as if you're based in the UK or Northern Ireland, to win a load of D&D stuff. Because companies have started watching this stream and thinking, hey, this is actually pretty good. You're all healed up. You are through through the goblin room, and now you are through the mechanized machinery room. And as you walk further into the cave, you begin to hear the sound of rushing water builds up. This is the underground river that they've mentioned. Elliot didn't say they got any deeper than this. This is, as far as anyone knows, the deepest this cave goes. Rage, how are you with water?
Oh, they taught us to swim by, like, just chucking us in and then just, like, so I think pretty good, especially under pressure. But I wasn't the strongest at home. That was, Tanina. She was better than me.
You've gone from Scottish to Yorkshire. Where are you from,
I
as a
mean,
barbarian?
like, in my town, right,
it was
everyone...
a hit to the face.
Yeah, we're from everywhere, really. We go, yeah.
I would like it to be canonically added that when you get hit in the face, you switch accent. That's a thing I want us to work on.
I get 'em.
Billy, how are you feeling with water? I mean, normally you just have to magic yourself over it, but can you swim?
I prefer not to swim. I don't have any other clothes because we haven't had enough money to buy any thanks to someone's spending. So I'd rather not go near water, thanks.
Who were you looking at when you said someone's spending?
Callum.
Callum, are you
Spending all my money
a spender
in the
in this?
bar.
Are you buying all of the alcohol and the wine?
Yeah, look, if it's my money, I'm quite cautious. I don't usually
It's
have...
our money?
Yes, but it's not specifically mine, so I'm normally quite cautious. But this isn't really mine, so I am having a whale of a time.
So if it's your money, you don't spend it, but if it's someone else's, you do.
You got it.
Excellent. And are you starting to understand that the party's money is split 3 ways? So you're almost giving yourself permission to spend Rage's and Billy's money.
Hey.
It's a business expense, I'd say. So I don't
But-
see the problem.
A more important question right now, can you swim?
Yes, actually, I find myself in ponds quite often after a night out. So I've actually bought some amazing leather trousers because I find myself in the water so often that I'm like a duck. I just get out and it all runs off.
So you are wearing right now
Spandex.
skin-tight, watertight leather trousers.
Yeah, hang on, let's see if we can... I don't know if I can get my leg up that high.
If you aren't watching at home, Callum has just shown us his gymnastic skills, and he is legitimately actually wearing, right now in real life, skin-tight leather trousers, because that's how in character he is.
Yeah.
Walking down the path further, it opens into, again, not as large as the previous room you were just in, but big enough. There's an underground river. There are some basic flaming torches embedded in the wall above the river. The river takes up one entire side of this room. It comes from darkness and it trickles away around the corner into darkness. What you are walking on is effectively a thin ledge close to one of the walls, which simply takes you further into the cave as the river runs down by your side. There is no way to cross this river, as the other side is simply the other wall of the cave. You are simply walking down the ledge. And as you do, it narrows and narrows, and the water gets darker and darker. Rage, how are you feeling?
Alright, really. Just close my eyes and pretend I'm a fish. Just like back home.
You aren't in the water yet, so you're walking along the ledge above it.
I'm a
kind of
land
balancing.
fish.
You're a land fish.
I'm a land fish.
And you're going to close your eyes while walking along this and pretend you're a fish. So you believe the best way to navigate this very dangerous, small kind of ledge is to close your eyes and just hope.
Right, well, I want to say yeah.
Okay, roll a d20.
It's a bad choice.
We've committed.
Oh no.
Can I sing a song
That's my job.
while I do this?
You know what? I would be a bad dungeon master if I didn't actively encourage you to do that all the
Nice.
time. What would you like to sing?
Bobbing along inside this
On the
beautiful
bottom.
tiny cave. Making up the words 'cause I don't know them. Bobbity bomb.
I would like to point out that not only was
Bobbity
that
bomb.
beautiful, but Mr. Greggles came in with the cave reverb at exactly halfway through that song, which really sets the immersion. This is an immersive experience after all.
This is now a musical.
Rage, roll 2d20s, so roll with advantage.
Oh, that's a 4, Captain. And oh fuck!
It's gone. She rolled too hard. Her barbarian rage was too strong.
I'd say that's rolling with disadvantage at this point.
Right. What's happened is, your thoughts have done the same thing that the dice did. Rage, your thoughts have done the same thing the dice did. You ended up getting a little bit too into the song, a little bit too into it. You ended up kind of kicking and stepping with the moves as you go, and then you put your foot down and there is no ledge there.
Oh.
Now, what the other two see is you don't flail when you fall. You don't worry. You're too in the song. You're too in the moment. You're almost jazz-handing it as you go. And you pretty much just fall sideways, exactly as you are, into the dark water. And you begin to tumble along beneath. And then, Billy, Callum, you start to see little bubbles rising up to the top. Billy,
Oh dear.
what are you thinking? You've just seen Rage fall into this river, but you've got to keep pushing down because you've still not found Simon.
Okay, so this river, so there's no way for us to like go alongside it, is there? We have to go
You
in
can
it?
go alongside it as long as you stay on the ledge and you slowly start to kind of creep along the wall. You can't go to the other side of the river. You're effectively following the route of the river deeper into the cave.
Okay, I don't feel like I'm that agile to do that, so can I cast Mage Hand and like take myself across, like with a hand?
Yeah, roll a d20.
13?
Now, Mage Hand normally can't pick up anything heavy. Mage Hand is normally just a kind of gentle guiding force. But focusing your magical energy, you're able to create a little ethereal hand. What colour do you imagine this hand being?
It's just like a little green little hand.
A green floating hand. And what it does is it actually grabs the back of your cloak, the kind of scruff of your neck area, and it pulls you slightly closer to the wall. So it's definitely not carrying you across, but it's stabilizing you as you continue to edge along this ledge, as you continue to walk sideways.
Nice. I'll
You
take it.
feel slightly more supported. If you ever need to make a dexterity check while this is happening, you can roll with advantage. Callum, you've seen Rage just flop in, and you've seen Billy magically support herself. How are you planning to get along this strange ledge?
So, I'm planning to crawl because I'm really bad with balance. Like, I just kind of zigzag left and right as I walk, and I don't trust myself. But how far down is the ledge? Like, how far's the drop?
It's almost pretty much directly next to you. It's only about a foot. So you've got about the water, and then next to you the rock face, and then like 1 foot, and you could kneel down right now and stick your hand in the water. It's not a problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanna crawl along the ledge, follow Billy, and stay out the water.
Roll a d20.
Don't fall in.
That's not a d20. That is.
Bob, 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 bob.
That's a 2.
2. Callum, you kneel down, and what you forget is the ledge is quite thin. So you put one knee on the ledge that you're on, and then as you go to put your other knee and your other hand down, you put them effectively where the river is. And then you go to rest all of your weight on yourself, and you just kind of flop sideways into the river as well. Callum, you are unable to crawl because you forgot how much space crawling takes up, and you have fallen in. Billy, you've seen Callum fall into this river now as well. He didn't mean to, and Rage is super happy. Rage, you managed to kind of splash your head up above, look behind you, and see Billy on the ledge still, being held up by a mage hand, and Callum almost on all fours, rolling in to the river. Rage, how are you feeling?
That is cool. What the heck's going on there?
I think he was copying you.
It wasn't intentional. It was.
Do you say that from under the water?
Yeah, you just hear me like bubbling away.
Shall I get him? Can he swim?
Yeah, probably just grab him.
All right. I'm like grab him by
Rage,
the
are you
scruff
gonna
of his
try
neck.
Are you going to try and grab Callum and bring him to you?
Yeah, like
Roll
a
a
baby with
D20?
arm pants.
Oh no.
That's
Rage,
a 16.
roll a 16. You reach under the water and you grab. And your fingers wrap round something slimy. Something wriggly.
Come now, it's a PG stream.
And as you grab it, you see below you in the water long black tendrils all disappearing into murky darkness. And then you're holding on to this slimy tentacle thing, and you feel yourself being thrown up and out the water quickly. And as you're thrown clear of the water's surface, you look down, you're in the air for a second, the river's below you, and you are holding on to a horrible, deep, dark, purple tentacle that snakes down into the blackness of the river. You let go of it in shock, and it simply pulls back and then slaps you across the face hard. Rage, what's your armor class?
17.
You manage to ignore the pain that it inflicts, but then you fall back down. As you're falling back through the air toward the river, Callum, you have watched this. You have seen this tentacle throw Rage up and then slap her in the air. What are you doing?
While it's kind of fixated on doing that, I want to pull out my hatchet and just swing for the tentacle.
The hatchet that you picked up earlier from outside of the mine. Roll the d20.
12.
12. You manage to pull the hatchet back and slice through. The blade of the hatchet is not very sharp, but it does dig perfectly, directly into the tentacle. And you don't hear so much a scream as you feel the reverberation from under the water of a yelp of pain. It kind of floods through your body as you do. You pull the hatchet back and you hack again and again and again, and eventually, with a third and final swing, it goes straight through. The tentacle, after slapping Rage in the face, withers up from being cut and falls back down with a splash. You look down and see many, many more. Billy, you've seen there's some kind of weird tentacle monster in the water. One has thrown Rage up and Callum has hacked through it. There's probably too much for you to fight. What are you going to do?
I'm kind of up against this wall. I've got my mage hand. I don't want to let that go. Can I just get to the other end? I'm going to just let them...
Just run as fast as you can to the other end.
Help them from the other side. Yeah, I want to run to the other side.
2d20s and choose the highest one, so you're rolling with advantage. And the advantage is due to you giving yourself the mage hand grip from earlier.
8.
What?
8 wasn't good.
What was the highest roll?
8.
8 was the highest roll.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You speed up, your feet scraping along the stone and the rock as you do, knocking the pebbles and the dust into the water, and as you nearly see that in the distance, the path you are on, the ledge you're on, snakes off to one side into another tunnel, the floor effectively opening up, and the river goes in another direction. Just as you get to it, you feel a tentacle wrapping around your leg. You look down and see from the murky blackness a thin, purple, kind of beaded tentacle has wrapped around you and is holding your leg. It's just about to pull you in, but you can react to it quickly. What are you going to do?
Turn around, and it worked earlier, so I'm going to do it again. Burning hands slapped onto the tentacle.
Burning hands onto the tentacle. Billy, roll a d20.
17.
Rage, you fall down from the sky. You see the tentacle that Callum hacked off shrivel up and splash back in. And Rage, as you hit the surface of the water again and fall back under, you see another tentacle dart past you and wrap around Billy's leg on the ledge. And then, as you look up from under the water, a beautiful spray of red and orange floods across the surface. As you can see, Billy is clearly casting Burning Hands again, but you are safe under the water right now. Spraying all over and all across it. And as your head just pops back up out of the water, Billy just about stops casting the spell. Callum, you have seen this wall of flame shooting out of Billy's fingers across the surface of the water toward you. What are you going to do?
I'm going to run over towards Billy. Billy is
You are still in the water.
Okay. How close am I to Billy?
You could probably have to swim for about 10 seconds to get to it, but this wall of flame is coming at you bloody quickly.
Okay, I want to take a deep breath and just go straight into the water.
Roll the d20.
10.
You take a deep breath, and you dive under. And as you dive under, you look down. And as you look down, the ambient light from the wave of fire that sweeps over the top of you illuminates just the tip of some razor-sharp white teeth. A huge maw, a mouth leading to an endless black throat all the way down, and you realise you are much closer to this thing's jaw than you thought you were. If you were to swim down any more, you'd be able to grab its teeth. Callum, if it launches up and bites, it's going to get you. What are you going to do? I
want to use my flute as a snorkel and continue underwater to the other side of the pool, just as far away from this thing as possible.
Billy, what you see is Callum dodge out the way of your wave of fire. The tentacle that was wrapped around your leg burns and crinkles and flails and dust, but falls back in. And then the water calms for a second. You see Rage kind of pop back up, shake her head, her hair flying around and water flinging off it. And then out of the gentle blackness water behind, just a little flute. She just raises up and then begins to move. And every time Cal breathes, because a flute has holes all the way down it, you just hear a gentle almost announcing his arrival. Rage, you realise this creature is still very much alive underneath you and Callum is not going to make it in time. What are you going to do to help?
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, but I got smacked in the face again. Wait, hold on. What's occurring? Right, here's what's gonna happen, right? So I think back to my memories where I was swimming really fast in the village, and that's why I'm a great swimmer.
Swimming in the village? Was your village underwater?
Hey, wait, the village of Swillage, that's what I'm telling you now. So I go zooming, I do. So I zoom, I'm super fast, and I push Callum's butt, right? And I use my feet to just pedal us away, like zoom in.
See you later.
So, the backstory, you were raised in the swimming village of Swillage.
Aye.
It's right next to Smillage.
You happen to be some kind of like Olympic level swimmer, and you're going to swim back to Cal, grab him, and swim forward away from him.
Yeah.
Because you're Welsh now, because you got slapped in the face.
Aye, I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Callum,
Yeah.
You manage to get away from this creature just about enough to poke your head back over the water, and what you see swimming towards you at an alarming speed is an angry Welsh barbarian. She doesn't give you a chance to react as she swims around you, grabs you by the back of the neck, and just powers you through the water toward Billy. Billy, you've just seen this absolute machine of swimming. What are you thinking?
Can I jump on her back?
I mean, to be honest, she's pretty much by the edge now, and Rage,
I thought
almost
we were
like a
further away.
majestic salmon, leaps out of the water. Slow motion. Little droplets of water sparkling as the flames and the fire flicker through them. Behind her, flailing like a dead trout, Callum flops through the air behind. Rage, you're majestic. Callum, you're less so.
Yeah.
Billy, you're watching this. Rage, would you just roll a d20 for how well you land?
+2 for athletics.
Dexterity and athletics, you land perfectly, not harmed. Callum, would you please roll a d20 for how well you land, having been dragged out of the river and thrown effectively?
Do I get to
onto
add dexterity as well?
You can add dexterity as well, yes.
So that's 12 plus 2.
You land pretty well. Billy, you're actually pretty impressed with their landings. You didn't
guys.
kill the creepy tentacle creature that inhabits this underground river, but you've managed to get past it. Maybe that was Simon's fate. You don't know. But the cave does continue deeper. Rage, you are soaking wet. Do you have any spare clothes with you? Did you bring any kind of change of armor?
No, like, we just wear, like, you know, there's not much on me, so I dry pretty quick normally. I wiggle to dry.
Okay, roll a d20. Just so you know, I'm going to find an enemy very soon to slap you in the face, because I want to see how far this goes. Roll a d20 for the effectiveness of your wiggle.
It's a 7.
It's a 7. The wiggle does nothing, neither bad nor good, but I'm glad that you felt that you needed to do it. Billy, you are not soaking wet. Thankfully, you were able to stay pretty much on the side. You've still got some kind of horrible, gooey purple slime on the bottom of your leg where that tentacle grabbed you.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to do before we adventure further into the cave?
I want to see like what's around us right now. Like, is it just like, do I know exactly where we're going? Can I try and figure out where we're
Roll a
off
d20.
to next? Maybe there's some tracks or something. 14.
You are aware this part of the cave is much newer. The cuts are much fresher. Time hasn't worn down the jaggedness of these rocks as much. The pickaxes have clearly dug this out relatively recently. And as you look back down where you've come from, the ledge that follows the river, and then you look toward where you're going to, the river trails off into the distance, the ledge opens up into another tunnel, and on the wall of this tunnel, crystals, like the ones you saw outside at the entrance of the mine. Now, this was a gold mine. No one said anything about crystals. Crystals are normally quite rare, quite protected, quite special. They didn't know there were crystals in this mine. But you can hear a gentle, ambient glow of magical, ethereal energy pulsating from deeper within this clearly crystal cove you're about to enter.
Does anything happen when I touch it?
Roll a d20.
3.
The only thing you know is that the crystals seem annoyed. Callum, you have managed to flop onto the ground, shake yourself off. Your legs, remarkably dry. Obviously, the outside of the leather is soaked, but your skin itself dry from wearing the skin-tight leather pants, just in case you fell into a river.
Hell yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I've just escaped death and Rage touched my bum.
Like an average day.
Is that a good day?
That's a great day for me. I didn't think we were going to any taverns today, and I was just going to miss out entirely, but apparently not.
Fantastic. I'm glad the day's going so well. You realise that Billy is over communing with effectively the crystals, and when she looks at you, she almost tells you that these are annoyed. You think, and you are aware as well, that this is a newer part of the cave, and as you listen, you hear a very strange sound. A sound of almost a crash of magical energy, and then a groan, a grunt, almost a tired scream from deeper within the cave. This could be Simon. Rage, what are you thinking?
If I hear the screaming, not gonna lie to you guys, I think we should go see what that is.
Billy, what are you
reckon?
thinking?
Well, we're not going backwards. We need to keep going on. If he wasn't eaten by that bloody tentacle thing, then he's going to be further ahead. I think you're right. Callum?
Yeah, I agree. And whatever's down there might be valuable, so let's do it.
You adventure further into the cave. As you go down this new tunnel, the crystals on the wall begin to grow more and more frequent until effectively it's more crystal than rock, jaggedy, shooting out, small little growths around the bases. And as you walk further and further and further, you enter an enormous cove. Crystals all around the walls. Almost a perfect sphere. Dug out by a few pickaxes still working on the top. An animated series of digging pickaxes, making the cave bigger and bigger and bigger. But occasionally these pickaxes fall down. Occasionally they wobble. And then you see it. In the far end of this cave, hulking, at least 20 feet high, a golem of stone and crystal, jagged, sticking out of all of its joints. It raises its huge fist up and brings it down as hard as it can, and it smashes onto a blue orb, slightly bigger than a human being. And as the magical energy explodes from the orb, you see an extremely tired mage waiting for the next attack. And as the golem raises its fist and slams again, the mage draws all his focus and just about surrounds himself with a magical shield, once again absorbing the impact. He's shattered. He's creating a magical shield every single time a hit would come. He can't walk. The golem is too big. He can't get away. He is just draining all of his concentration. And every single time he creates this magical shield to absorb an attack, you see the pickaxes start to fail. And Billy, you realise what's happening. This is Simon. He's disturbed a rock golem, and the concentration that he was needing to use to keep all of the pickaxes under control, he is losing every time he has to recreate this shield to protect himself from a rock golem attack. That's why everything's going haywire. Rage, you need to protect him, but this golem is massive. What are you going to do?
Simon!
Is that the plan? Just scream
No,
Simon.
well, I just need to see if it's Simon, because I don't know.
Roll a d20.
3.
You are aware that you are looking for a mage who has animated some pickaxes. You are aware you have just found a mage who is very clearly animating pickaxes as those pickaxes are losing effective focus when he creates a shield and loses his focus. However, you're still not quite sure it's Simon.
But big stony boy bad equals die, yeah?
You're pretty sure that this big stony boy is not a good guy.
Okay, I stamp my feet, and I start, and I go, and I charge towards it, and I want to cast Reckless Attack.
You want to just recklessly attack this massive stone golem.
Yes, my plan is to run, and I want to jump on the back of its neck.
Roll a d20.
Has a advantage on my first attack.
That's fine. Roll 2d20, choose the highest.
7. 18!
Yeah!
Let's
18.
go!
You run forward. You jump. And just as you do, the rock golem is suddenly aware that you are there. It raises its giant, boulder-like hand, swings around and slams you out of the air. You feel the back of its hand impact your entire body. You have the wind knocked out of you. But you aren't knocked away, because as soon as you do, you grab and you hold on. You are holding on to the back of its hand. It is much taller than you. It doesn't realise that you're holding on to it. It thinks it's just knocked you to the walls over in the distance. So as it raises its hand for another attack onto Simon, you are now above it. Rage, you're holding on to the back of its hand that it's just raised above its own head. What are you going to do?
Climb up its shoulder.
You're effectively on its hand, so you could slide down its forearm and land on its shoulder next to its head.
Yes.
And
do
when
that.
you're next to his head, what's the plan?
When I'm next to his head, I want to take a right hook and just like slam it into his face.
So you're punching, or are you using your hammer?
My fist.
Your fist.
Yeah.
Billy, you've just seen Rage sprint at this rock golem, jump up, and as the rock golem slams Rage out the air, she's grabbed onto its hand, held onto it, it was lifted up, she dropped down onto its shoulder, and she's gone to punch it in the face. What are you going to do to help?
I don't know how long Simon has got left because I don't know if Rage is going to be able to be successful. So I'm going to transfer my mage armor as much as I can onto him.
Roll a d20.
9.
9. Are you going to run towards Simon while doing this, or try and do it from a distance?
No, I'm going to try and come up closer to him so I can actually like push the energy from me to him.
So roll a d20 for your dexterity check to dodge past this rock golem and get to Simon, who is just absolutely shattered from holding the shield up for too long.
10.
10. You run forward. As you do, you begin to drain some of your magical energy out towards Simon. You throw this raw ethereal toward him, and he sees and he realizes that you are on his side, and he begins to accept some of it, powering up the shield. But as you do, the rock golem raises its foot and slams down onto the floor, close enough to you that it knocks you off your feet backwards, interrupting your concentration of this transfer of energy. It's not complete yet, and Simon can't take advantage of it, and you have been knocked backwards. Callum, you've seen Rage run up, gets hit by this fist, climb on and about to punch. You've seen Billy run forward and try and transfer energy, and then get knocked backwards by the violent shake from the slam. What are you going to do?
So, does this rock golem have any crystals growing on it as well, or is it just purely rock?
There are crystals growing out of what you seem to be the elbow, the shoulder, back of the knee, and some points on the hips, and then around his neck.
Okay, so crystals are quite sensitive to sound, to certain frequency. So I want to play a sharp note and try and pierce the one on the back of his knee and bring him down.
Roll a d20.
That's a 5.
Oh.
You play a sharp note, and you do in fact see one of the crystals on his elbow begin to vibrate quite quickly. But as it vibrates quickly, the pain causes the golem to bring both its arms up to its head, almost in an effect to cover its own rock ears from hearing the note anymore. And as it brings both its arms up to its head, Rage, you're standing on its shoulder, which means it once again smacks you with the back of its hand. Rage, quick, roll a d20, see if you're able to stay on.
10 plus my dex?
Yes, plus dex.
13.
Unless you want to punch the actual rock of the hand itself and use it as a strength check.
Yeah! Okay. So it's 14.
Rage, you decide that dexterity is for wimps, and so as this fist is raised towards you, you simply pull your hand back and punch as hard as you can into the rock. You see the rock crack, but you don't break it, and instead you effectively violently fist bump yourself off the dude's shoulder back onto the floor, crashing on the floor right next to Billy. Callum, you've got the right idea, but it wasn't the right frequency.
It wasn't.
Billy, what are you doing?
So I want to carry on again, transfer the rest of the mage armor over to him so he is safe.
Billy, roll the d20 for how well this goes. With advantage, because you've already made some distance up.
Okay, first one was 12. Second one, 15.
You run forward, managing to dodge a few of the attacks. You manage to just about dodge out the way of a falling Rage as this creature smacks her off its shoulders and then starts to stumble around. It doesn't know why it's trying to cover its rock ears. It's the frequency onto the crystals that's affecting it, but it's a natural reaction for it to do. Simon realizes what you're doing, and as you run closer, he simply looks up at you and through no breaths says, "Thank you."
It's okay.
He's taking time catching his breath. He hasn't been able to do this for at least 24 hours. This fight has been going on literally all day for him, and he is drained. Billy, how much of your magical energy are you going to give him?
Like a third of it.
A third of it. So you're not going to need to roll with disadvantage yourself, but you're not going to give him the biggest bonus that you could.
That's okay. I'll take it.
Fantastic. You take time and you simply lay your hand on his shoulder and you allow some of your sorceress power to flow through into him, and you can see him almost starting to breathe easier, starting to get better. Thank you. You can see that Simon is gaining his strength back, and as he looks at you, he smiles and looks up into the air. He sees one of the pickaxes that he is controlling to chip away, and it stops chipping away. and it begins to turn and face toward the giant rock goblin. Rage, you've been knocked onto the floor, but you're able to get up. You see Billy is assisting Simon in magical energy. What are you doing now, Rage?
Super angry because I just been fist bumped into the Nether Realm. So I am going to cast my rage again, and I'm just gonna scream like a guttural scream.
And then are you going to attack?
And then yes, if I can.
How?
I'm going to actually use my weapon this time, and I'm going to take it off the back of my hand, and I'm just going to swing it wide into the golem's ankle in an attempt to sort of break his ankle or knock
You
him.
look at the bloody knuckles that you've got from fist bumping this thing angrily off its own shoulder. You stand up and you swing your hammer. Callum, you see that Rage is about to attack, but you know that she's going to attack the stone parts. Callum, quick, what advice does she need?
It's tough. Go for the crystals and make them sing.
Rage, you've been told to go for the crystals. Do you want to ignore the advice and just go for the hitting the rock, or are you going to listen to Callum and go for the crystals as well?
Go for the crystals, and he said make them sing. So I go,
I said sing, not cry.
No, that was perfect. Roll 2d20s, choose the highest one, so rolling with advantage, and then add a d4 on for Callum's inspiration and your beautiful singing.
Okay. So that's a 6,
Roll another d20 and roll higher than a 6.
Come on.
a 10.
Add a d4. So add your strength, first of all. So your strength modifier is a total of +5, so we're up to 15. Mm-hmm. And now roll a d4.
Come on, 4.
2.
2. 10 from the roll, 5 from your strength modifier, and an extra 2, effectively, from the inspiration that Callum gave you. 17 is enough. You run forward, you raise your hammer up, and you swing it through. You manage to connect the flat of the hammer with the very tip of a crystal sticking out from this golem's ankle. And as soon as the hammer connects with the crystal, it doesn't crumple so much as instantly shatters, spraying glass crystal shards straight out, and the hammer swings effortlessly through. There is now, almost for a moment in time, a gap between where its rock foot is and its bottom of the rock leg, where the crystal ankle connection would have been, and as soon as you see that gap, you smile, and then it collapses, both rocks hitting each other, and you hear the golem let out this deep guttural bellow as it falls slightly. However, it uses the momentum to raise up its fist and slam down once again onto Simon and Billy. Billy, quick, roll a d20.
Okay. 12.
Now roll a d20 for Simon.
9.
9.
Oh, Simon.
It's fine. This is you working together. Simon simply grabs your arm as he holds his shield up. You don't know how to create this form of shield, but he knows that you have magical energy that he can tap into. The shield is created and then almost layered over again with even more mage armor. And as the fist connects to it, the upper layer of the shield explodes off into magical shards which dissipate into the air, but it remains stable. You are keeping him alive, if only for a moment. Callum, you have seen Rage take out one of the ankles thanks to your advice, and you've seen Billy be able to get to and support Simon. What are you doing?
I don't think I can pull off the flute tune required, so I want to run up to the other leg, hatchet in hand, and smash the other crystal.
Roll a d20.
13.
13. Run forward. Billy, Callum is about to bring this hatchet down onto the other crystal. You know that it's unlikely to do as much damage. Is there anything that you can do to help or assist the damage that Callum is about to do, bearing in mind that Simon has just used your magical energy to create a better shield, and in doing so you've become aware of what he's doing, which is controlling all of the pickaxes in the room.
Okay, so I'm going to just let Simon do whatever he wants to do to focus that energy. Whatever I've got left for myself, I'm going to focus it into a little firebolt that's going to go kind of on top of Callum's hatchet, because I'm seeing like he's trying to do something here, and I'm like, he's not going to be able to get through. They need something else, some fire. So I'm going to firebolt alongside it.
Billy, you focus some energy. Callum's axe is slowly cutting through the air. You see, as you focus, the blade begin to heat up. It begins to glow yellow, and then red, and then eventually white hot. Callum, you can feel the heat coming from this axe head, and eventually you bury it deep within the crystals. It cuts in slightly more because it's melting the crystal as it goes in. You're holding both your arms and pushing it in, but it's not quite enough. Cal, roll a d20 for a strength check.
That's a 10. Do I get to add strength? Which is 0 anyway, so there we go.
It's fine, because the axe is covered in alcohol. And as the heat buries it further and further into the crystal, you hear a small explosion. You see the crystal crack from within as you know that it's a tiny combustion within, but it's still not enough. But Simon's noticed what you're doing. And with a flick of his hand, he pulls one of the pickaxes away from the ceiling of this room, and it flies through the air. It flies straight past you, Cal, and with the butt of the pickaxe head slams into the edge of the axe head, pushing it even further into the crystals, and you finally feel a crack as you push the axe all the way through the crystal ankle, and it shatters again, and the golem falls onto its other leg, falling forward, reaching its hands out as it does. Rage,
Nice.
You've seen that one has been smashed, and then Simon and Billy have managed to create another shield. Simon has pulled a pickaxe through the air and used it effectively as a hammer on the end of Callum's axe head, and Billy has heated the axe head up to create it melt. This golem is finally on its hands and knees. What are you going to do?
I'm going to grab Callum, and I am going to throw him, if you're willing. I want to throw him on top of the golem's head so that he can jab the golem in the ears or something.
I'm all for this.
Yes. So I'm going to look at Callum. I say, tea time. Yes.
I don't know what that means, but yes.
Yes.
Rage, are you currently rolling a cat in the dice tray?
I may possibly be.
It's a beautiful roll of a cat. Callum, the next attack is going to need some dexterity, and you are probably the person with the least dexterity here. So let's hope this works really well.
Yeah.
Rage runs forward, grabs you by the scruff of the neck, and looks at you. She tells you she's going to throw you onto the golem's back while it's on its hands and knees on the floor, attempting to catch its own breath. Callum, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
You are currently standing behind the golem, meaning the flanks of its legs and the arch of its back is facing you, effectively the butt of the golem. Rage, roll a d20 for the accuracy of this throw.
Oh no.
9 plus
No.
what would it be? Dexterity?
Dexterity. Plus dexterity.
12. Yeah.
You run forward. You grab Callum by the scruff of the back of the neck and the belt loop. You simply swing him back, seeing as you can pick all of him up. And as you launch him, you do not launch him high enough, and instead throw him like a missile directly into the arse of this golem. Callum, you feel yourself crumple against rock and crystal and then fall down onto the floor. Rage has effectively thrown you directly into a rock wall. Callum, please take
Oh, Cal. I'm so sorry.
6 damage.
Rage, why? Oh no.
Oh, Callum!
You have been impaled and ripped by these sharp crystals as you fall down the effective skin of this rock golem, and you are now bleeding quite profusely.
Oh no.
Billy, you have seen Rage run forward, pick Callum up, and just throw him into the arse of the golem. What are you going to do?
I can see that he's on the floor and he looks really injured, so I
He is
want to kind
bleeding.
of drag him into where me and Simon are, underneath our shield.
Roll a d20.
10.
You dart out of the shield and you're able to grab Callum by the ankle and pull him back. As you do, you're dragging him across the floor even more, which is hurting more and more and more.
Sorry.
And as you pull back toward the shield, the golem, on its hands and knees still, raises one of its fists and slams the back of its fist into Simon one more time, who summons all of his strength at the last time to create a small blue shield in front of him, which takes the impact of the golem's hit and then shatters. Simon drops to his knees and starts breathing heavily again. He's out of magical energy. Billy, you can't drag Callum back into this shield because the shield doesn't exist anymore. Rage, you've seen that Simon is out of energy. Callum is bleeding. Billy doesn't know what to cast right now. What are you doing?
I run over to where the golem is next gonna attack. So I look up and I see what he's looking at. And I stand there with my legs stance. and I hold my hammer up in the air in an attempt to kind of make some sort of barrier with all my strength and muscle and womanliness.
Billy has dragged Callum back over to where Simon is, which means Billy, Callum and Simon are now standing as a small group. You run over and stand in front of them, looking up at this golem, holding your hammer up as a block. The golem, still on its knees, pulls one of its hands back. It raises one leg, effectively standing on its ankle, its broken ankle, and stands up all the way. It is fully extended into the air, its legs stumbling slightly because you've broken its ankles. It drops to a knee again, but is able to get an attack off. It raises its fist, and then its other fist, and with both hands raised in the air, slams them down onto where all of you are. Rage, describe how you would try and block this.
I would hold the staff of my hammer up in the air, and as the fist is coming down, knowing that this is probably my final and last thing I can ever do to save the party, I scream, a guttural rage releases, and I just stand my ground. And
Rage, roll 2d20s and choose the highest one.
Oh, come on, you got this.
You can do it.
13.
Not bad.
Come on, come on, come on! 13!
Again?
Yeah!
What?
We're not having two 13s. Roll one more time.
Okay.
What was the final roll?
12.
13, 13, 12.
Once you're consistent.
Oh, no.
Billy,
So 13, 14,
Billy,
15, 16,
describe
17.
how you use the final ounce of magical energy you've got in order to help Rage.
I am going to just kind of... She's standing kind of above us. I'm on the floor as I've dragged Callum from underneath her legs. Like a weird game of peekaboo. I'm going to pop out and be like, you regret you did this. And I'm just going to fireball straight into his chest. Where the biggest clump of crystals I can see is.
Crystals are. Roll the d20.
16.
Callum,
Yes.
what are you doing to help this?
If I can, with like the last of my energy, I'd like to bardic inspiration on Billy if possible.
Billy, roll a d6, add it to your roll.
3. 19.
19. The golem's fists are clamped together, the rock intertwines, the plates of stone lap over into effectively a giant stone ball connected via the crystal connections, and it's brought down hard. Rage, you feel the connection with the top of the hammer. It crushes you down. You hold it up, but it pushes down. You drop to your knees as you're just about able to slow this crushing weight. And as you do, you can see that the golem is tensing every part of its body in order to put all of its weight onto you. Billy, this is your time. You call up all of your energy into a tiny, tiny, focused amount of flame. A really small, white-hot ball of energy. And then you throw it directly into the centre of the golem's stomach. It begins to release its pressure on you, Rage, as it looks down and sees a tiny speck of white-hot energy before that tiny speck explodes. The crystals around it shatter, not all the way to the edge, just in the centre, but the golem keels forward, leaning and putting both its hands out to catch itself one more time. Its stomach has effectively been blown up from the inside, but it is still not dead. Rage, please take 8 damage
Of bludgeoning?
of bludgeoning.
I'm
Do you have resistance?
resistant.
Fantastic, please take 4 damage.
Cheeky cheeky.
You've been knocked down into the actual floor, but you've pushed up. Your arms and your shoulders ache. Your knee is bleeding from being hit into the dirt so hard. But Billy, you've managed to explode this thing's stomach. It's keeled over. You can't really do too much more to it. But as you're waiting, you look and you see Simon focused. And then, out of the cave entrance, where the river is, you see pickaxe after pickaxe after pickaxe, metal hammers, darts, knives, little fittings, tiny bits of metal all flying in one congealed mass out, and they surround the golem. They simply wait there, as Simon brings his hand up and closes his fist. As he does, every bit of animated metal that he's got slams onto the golem at the same time, chipping off little tiny bits. Crystals fly, bits of rock get sheared off, and then he opens his hand and the metal flies about again. He closes it and it comes in for another chip, and then it flies out again. It's draining for him to do this. Rage, you realise you've got enough time between attacks of chipping to do something. What are you going to do?
I would like to get off my knees and jump up in the air as much as I can. Hammer over my head to land a massive whonk straight onto this golem's head.
Roll a d20. Roll 2 d20s with advantage. Choose the highest.
Bonk.
15 or a nat 1.
15 or a natural 1.
Yeah.
Let's go with the 15. Callum,
Yes.
you realise that you can do something during these moments when the sphere of metal is just jabbing in and jabbing in and jabbing in. What are you going to do when you've got that brief window?
Yeah, I want to. I'm going to take my axe. I don't want to get in too close because otherwise I'm dead. And I just want to, like, shuriken it straight at his face.
You're just going to throw your axe from a distance at it.
It's all I've got left.
Callum, roll a d20. Roll 2, actually, with advantage. Choose the highest.
Please don't hit me.
That's a 14. That's a 7.
Let's go with the 14. Billy, you've realised you've got moments. What are you going to do?
The last thing I'm gonna do, absolute last thing, I've got like a few of those crystals still in that pouch, you know.
You do.
I kind of like, I grab a handful of them and I heat them up really, really hot, and I just throw them all over so that when the pickaxes hit, they're like driving in little shards of really, really hot material.
Rage, you land and your hammer cracks this golem over its head, knocking it into the dirt. Sods of mud get thrown up as its face gets buried into the dirt even more, and as the metal kind of sphere around the side smacks in again, it hits it in even further. The golem lifts its head out of the mud, clumps of earth falling off it, wet, damp, sodden, and as it looks toward where you all would be, the blade of an axe chips directly above its nose, stunning it for a second, knocking it around, and then even more. Simon once again closes his hand and all of the pickaxes, the metal, the bits of nails fly in, chip away at it one more time and fly out. And then Billy, you throw a handful of crystals all over, using what magical energy you have left to guide tiny, superheated shards of these crystals to all of the vulnerable spots over this fallen golem's body. Above the crystals, above the joints, above gaps in between the plates, Simon realises what you are doing. And so with a final close of his fist, the metal contraption doesn't attack randomly. It simply hits every little bit of crystal shard and drives it further and further into this golem's body, again and again and again and again and again, until finally the metal net of items around it spread out, and then you hear multiple tiny magical explosions all over this golem's body. Not massive, just lots. And with every explosion, crystals shatter. Its arms and legs go limp, its stomach stops, its neck seizes up, and then falls forward. The explosions have severed every single connection from rock to other bit of rock, and the golem lies defeated. Rage, how are you feeling?
Happy.
Happy that you've managed to make big thing bad hit into floor.
Big bad thing go bye-bye. Woo!
Billy, how are you feeling? Your tactical magical genius was able to finally focus on the weak parts.
Simon, are you okay?
I will be. Oh, thank you.
It's okay. We'll get you out of here.
How do you know me?
We know your friend. He kind of was calling for help. We were just walking nearby.
Elliot.
Yeah. Oh,
Is he
what's
okay?
his last name again? It was...
Elliot Gato.
That's the one. I know a lot of Elliots.
Yeah, his friends call him El. Right. Simon begins to push himself up and stand up. And you, he turns and looks at you. How did you know? I saw you do that thing with the crystal and the sound, the vibrations. How did you know?
I used to know an alchemist, and he used to deal with crystals a lot, and it's just something I picked up along the way. Never used it, though.
That's using up here. Everyone says that bards think with the other head, but no. What you just
both.
did then, that was smart.
Thank you.
You're obviously an intelligent man. Right. Let's get out of here. Simon begins to take a few steps away, and the pickaxes and the metal objects fall to the floor. He's not trying to keep them animated anymore. He knows that he's safe for the moment. Simon walks with you, back past the crystal golem, edging carefully down the river, back through the now silent, large mechanical opening room of the mine proper, back through the goblin tunnels, and finally back out into the forest, shielding his eyes from the sun as he exits. The forest bursts back into life, the lovely sound of birds and nature whistling by. And as soon as Elliot sees Simon, he stands up off the stump, runs over and embraces him with a strong hug. Stepping back, they look at each other. Simon turns and gestures to all of you. Where do you find these guys? Rage, anything you'd like to say to that?
Oh, I just wandered in.
We just wandered in. Billy, anything you'd like to add?
I just sneakily, before we all left, I took a little commemorative piece of crystal. I don't know what kind of crystal it is, but I just know that it's important to take a little bit, just as a memory.
Callum, how are you feeling?
I feel like I've broke every bone in my rib cage and face.
Oh yeah, I'm like taking him.
Yeah. Oh, so can I put my hand on Cal?
Don't.
Oh,
Please, for the love of God, don't.
I'm sorry. I ain't got a very good aim. To be
Noticed.
honest. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Do you forgive me?
Elliot
I'm gonna
has
have
sat
to.
down
Thank
and is
you.
chatting with Simon about restarting up the mine. They're fine doing that now he knows that his friend is safe. But they need to reward you for what you've done. Elliot walks over to you, Callum, and hands you a small pouch of gold coins. He says, "It's not much, but it should let you have a good time with the next couple of taverns you're in."
Hell
Callum,
yeah.
you open it, and there's 8 relatively large gold coins in there.
Oh, thank you very much.
Simon walks over to you, Billy. You've got magical power, haven't you? I could feel it when you tried to assist me.
I've got plenty.
Right,
Well-
well the shield thing I was using, that lasted a whole day. I didn't know it could do that, so I'm going to show you what I was doing. Simon
That's so
spends
cool.
some time with you, Billy, and teaches you the magical shield. Right now, you're only going to be able to use it on yourself, but you're going to be able to take a reaction. Not a full action, but a reaction to another event happening to throw up a magical shield. Right now, there's going to be a 50-50 chance of it being successful or not, but as you use it more, it's going to get more consistent, and you're going to be able to cover more people with it. So that's
Hell
something you
yeah.
can now do.
I'm learning things.
Nice.
That's going to be
Rage,
helpful.
you're simply watching these people being taught magical spells and given gold. What do you want? What do you need?
Well, I feel awful about swinging Callum into a buttocks of a golem, or golem, or whatever. So I want to go over to him. I'm like, right, bud, tea time is code word for I swing you up there. You do your thing. You do your thing. All right. So next time,
Right.
next time I say tea time,
Yeah.
you're delivering into what it is.
Right, yes, but I couldn't have done that anyway because you made me faceplant the ass of a golem.
I will.
She's not wrong.
Right, between now and the next time we tea time, I will practice more.
Right, okay, I'll be prepared for tea time next time.
Sweet, sweet.
Unfortunately, Rage, neither Elliot Gato nor Simon Can has anything they can offer you specifically. But in the next few adventures, you'll meet people who excel in your strengths and you'll learn skills from them. Billy,
I know tea time now.
you
That's
do
the
know
bit- I
tea time means
that's the
throw
bit.
Callum up.
Is
And he
good,
knows
though?
that too.
Is that beneficial?
But if you know it's coming,
Billy,
Sure.
you're going to learn the shield spell at 50% efficiency that will,
I like
as
it.
right now, be able to halve incoming damage if you cast it successfully. And Callum, you've been given money, which is a bard.
Oh,
makes you
yeah.
happy.
I'm
Callum,
very
do you want to
happy.
keep the hatchet?
You know what I do? This has seen me through some dark times today, and I feel like we've been through a lot. I want to keep him.
Remember that you have the hatchet. With the mine safe, Simon safe, and Elliot able to start up the mine business again, you simply take what you've learned, grab a bite to eat, and venture off back into the forest, looking for the next adventure and working out who will need heroes next. Rage, how do you feel?
Amazing. Like we do you know what? I've actually felt way squishier than I ever had before, but I guess that's what happens when you come across a stone golem.
It is tougher than you. Billy, how are you feeling?
I'm just really happy that Rage actually protected me, even though she said that she doesn't like me. What's that about? We've got to unpack that.
And Cal, how are you feeling?
I'm ecstatic. This is actually the first adventure we've ever been sent on where nobody died who was on our side.
Oh,
I know,
that's so true.
It's impressive. And ladies and gentlemen, if we can get Mr. Greggles on screen again, for anyone who is brand new, Mr. Greggles has been in the background the entire time, live updating all the background ambience, all of the sound effects specifically, changing all of the health bars and all of the background images to make sure he was there as well. Mr. Greggles has been doing this with the help of some fantastic products from Elgato sent to us via Scan. We'll talk about those products in a second to know how we did all this at the same time, because Greggles, you've actually been streaming every single stream at the same time, haven't you?
Yes. Yeah, I've got a full setup here, so we've been using the main output of one version of OBS to run all of your 4 stream, and then I've got my stream on a separate version of OBS with another one layered on top to do some funky sound stuff. But yeah, all run on one PC as well, so...
Amazing.
Yeah.
The technical complexity of what Mr. Greggles has set up is absolutely incredible, and we have some interesting news for you. If you want to see any of the products that we've used in order to make this happen, Elgato kindly sent us the webcams, the ring lights, and the green screens that have made this all happen. They sent us through Scan. You can type in !Scan in order to have a look at all the products we've used. And if you like Dungeons & Dragons and you want to win some stuff, we've actually been given some D&D stuff to give away to you guys for free. Right now, this is limited to the UK and Northern Ireland due to the Brexit posting laws, but if you type in !Giveaway, you'll be linked through to a site where you can potentially win some super cool stuff. And if you want to see Mr. Greggles do this live or just check out his stream, !Guest will get you over to him. Here is the plan for the future. We are going to be working closely. Could we say that we're going to be working closely with Wizards?
Well,
Are we allowed
I think
to say that yet?
that Wizards have, like, this is the first stream where Wizards has kindly stepped in to offer us and give us a bunch of different gifts for you guys. So this is the first step in a working close relationship with Wizards of the Coast. Now, we don't actually have anything in the pipeline right now that we can tell you guys about, but they are going to be friends of the stream, which is huge, you guys. Like,
anyone...
you know, speaking off the cuff? No, off the record.
Yeah, no, off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
The cuff
Speaking
record.
speaking off the record right now, like, this is actually huge for us because this has all started off as like a little hobby, as like an idea that Insomnia Game Festival helped us kind of like cultivate and like form into something. And now having the backing from people like Wizards of the Coast and Scan Computers and Elgato, this is turning into something pretty
For
exciting.
anyone who's unsure who Wizards of the Coast are, they are the company that effectively create Dungeons and Dragons. So they are like the big
authority.
guys. They are the guys that gave us the stuff to give away to you. They watched our stream and went, "We like that. Let's see
Mummy
what we
and
can do in the
Daddy
future."
D&D.
Yeah.
So Elgato have provided us with all of the hardware that we need to make this happen. Scan are going to be able to get that to you as well with a decent discount. If you buy it through there, we do get a small kickback from that, but they are decent products that we are using right now. And Wizards of the Coast hopefully are going to be able to supply us with more stuff in the future. And if we do more live events like Insomnia, like MCM, like EGX, like all these things, we want to bring this as a show to you live. Greggles, if we were to get you all of the equipment, do you think you'd be able to do live sound mixing if we did this in an actual theatre or on stage at a big convention?
Oh yeah, the PC's portable, and let's just say next time I will have more sounds on buttons rather than me having to go like pew and
The
I really
mouth sounds
enjoyed
were
your
perfect.
personal sound effects. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed those. Those ones that I connected with those.
Yeah, but doing it live would definitely be something that would be, well, fun. Especially if I had a couple of prank sounds in there. You know, the occasional,
Oh,
just, you know.
Oh yeah, if an attack fails or something, we'll do that.
Prepare a bucket sound this time. Can't believe you didn't have a bucket with you.
I was running around trying to find a blick. Oh, you were saying about metal?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, where can I grab a load of metal from? Of course, I'm a drummer, so I was here
You
shaking.
just got local metal in you. So finally, before we head off, just a quick recap. We've been using the Stream Decks and the Stream Deck pedals, the 4K 60 Pros, the face cams. We've got key lights behind us and we've got green screens for all of that. Exclamation mark scan gets you a link to what we've been using. Exclamation mark giveaway gets you a link to all the D&D stuff that you could potentially win. And exclamation mark guest gets you to Mr. Greggle's
So
stream.
I was
and
going to say...
finally, sorry, before we do head off, our next stream will not be on Josh Strife channel or Callum channel
Yes.
or Billy channel or my channel.
this is new news to me.
I know, right?
It's not.
For the very first time, we're being professionals, and we are live streaming from our Twitch channel. So if you've entered the giveaway, you will see the first result is to go follow our Twitch channel. But if you haven't seen it, go and follow our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/session0sz, and we'll see you over there next week.
It's great that you all choose to view us individually on our own streams, but we're going to make this its own separate thing. It's bigger than any of us, so Session 0 SZ will be the official Twitch channel. I'll do a shout out on my Discord. We'll do a tweet for it. There'll be whoever's you've been watching it through will be there, and hopefully in the future, Greggles will be able to watch you live streaming or live scoring another Session 0.
Yeah,
If you're up for that.
I've
Yeah, will
definitely...
you come back? Would you do this again?
Oh yeah, I've
Yeah.
learned a lot. So next time I will automate even more. I was just gonna say before Rage said about the channel, I am actually, because a lot of people have been asking in chat, I'm gonna continue streaming after I stop the main stream for you all, just to give a quick rundown of how I actually did this. So if anybody
That's
is
awesome. That's
interested, then I'll be doing like a proper full breakdown of this, how I'm properly using the stream decks, how I'm using the foot pedal, how I'm using the ATEM and the various versions of OBS it's controlling. So yeah, if you are a tech person or you want to learn, then yeah, I'm gonna run to the toilet after this and then do like half an hour of explanation.
I'll send my chat your way with the raid.
Should we just raid Mr. Greggles then with the chat?
Yeah, let's do that.
The way he's done this is absolutely insane. Let's throw a Mr. Greggles raid out. You guys can go and check out
Let's
exactly
I
go.
appreciate that, guys. You
who's
didn't.
worked with that.
But yeah,
There we go.
it's been a pleasure to be involved in, and I hope everybody watching on your channels has like enjoyed what I set up and the visuals and everything. I hope it wasn't too much of a shock for anyone, or
My chat personally have loved it.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Phew, that's
Everyone here
Yes,
seems
thank you
happy.
so much, Greggles. You've been amazing.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to throw a raid to you now, Greggles. Everyone have a great night. Take care. I'll see you all next week.
Bye, guys.